sports weekend there for baseball, for basketball. Whew, just not the weekend that you did South Carolina. Patrick, you asked over the weekend, or I think on Thursday or Friday, I can't remember. Yeah, you didn't ask. You brought up Pearson Fowler's poll question as it pertained to the weekend, saying what would South Carolina fans want the most: a Gamecock basketball victory, either a win over Auburn, a victory, or a tournament championship for the women in the SEC. Maybe it was going to be a baseball series win against Clemson, and I'd guess I would have bet money that one of the three would have happened. I probably would have ranked it women's basketball tournament championship, baseball series win, and win against Auburn in that order. None of it happens. And not only that, probably the most the depressing thing is South Carolina gets swept by Clemson on the baseball field. And after Friday night, Patrick, they weren't competitive games really. 10-2 on Saturday, 5-2 yesterday. Tough losses for the Gamecocks, who right now look like they might be in a world of trouble.
Yeah, I don't know where to even start. The women's basketball game replay is on the SEC network right now, and they're up by 13 points with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. I don't think anyone thought that they were going to lose that game at that point. They usually don't blow leads like that, but baseball might be the most depressing because what it kind of could potentially foreshadow for the rest of the year. We maybe tried to downplay the pitching issues a little bit last week, or at least say, hey, this is an issue, but it's also an opportunity for other guys to step in and show their stuff. And not only did they not do that, you blew a great outing from Will Sanders. He was awesome with 14 strikeouts and did as much as you could have ever asked for him, giving you the lead with just 2 innings to go, and you can't even hold it off there. And yeah, it's not going to get any easier. You got the number one team in the country coming next week, and I can't imagine anyone's feeling good about the opportunities there. And men's basketball, it was what it was. Auburn's a great team and started out slow but fought back hard, and maybe you felt a little bit good about the comeback, but there's really nothing to hang your hat on from this weekend. I think, yeah, the most stunning thing is that South Carolina women's basketball blows a big lead and gets their hearts ripped out with 1 second left, or 4 seconds left, I guess, with a big 3-pointer, and you don't have too much to look forward to with baseball right now. I don't know if many people feel like that was just an anomaly, and against the best team in college baseball, you'll come back at home next week and have a better performance.
So we'll talk about all that. We'll take your phone calls, your text messages. If you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. I guess as bad as South Carolina's weekend was, and it certainly wasn't a good one. A couple weeks ago, there was like a great weekend where everything seemed to go right. Everything did not seem to go right this weekend. Patrick, I guess it's conceivable, as bad as this weekend was for South Carolina fans. If you're a Duke fan, your weekend probably went worse, right? Like if you're a Duke fan, I don't know how. I was in Greer yesterday. We had soccer all weekend, and the Gilbert Middle School pageant on Saturday night, where my daughter was absolutely beautiful and did a fantastic job, and kudos to all those little 6th and 7th and 8th grade young ladies who were fantastic in that. So I was busy all weekend. My son and I did have the Duke North Carolina game as we got to our seats there. Prior to the start of the pageant, we were watching the game on my cell phone, keeping up with it. And Patrick, as Austin and I were watching the game, Duke goes on a big run. I think it was 28-23 North Carolina, and Duke went on like a 14-0 run to go up 37-28 and take what appeared to be control of that basketball game. They dimmed the lights. They started talking about the contestants in the pageant. We did the right thing and cut the cell phone off, and periodically would check up on scores and see what was going on when my daughter wasn't participating. And to see Duke North Carolina come back, and not just come back, but absolutely dominate that game and win it on Coach K's final night in Cameron. Oh boy, if you're a Duke fan this morning, I think you were just still under the covers, crawling around.
It was amazing. I loved every second of it, and It started with, if you watched the stream, and maybe you didn't notice, but on ESPN, the Texas-Kansas game went to overtime and ended up starting the Duke game late. So you could tell that the ESPN people were freaking out because they kept making comments like, trust us, we'll get you to Cameron as soon as this game ends. They didn't even let the coaches shake hands. They just kicked it as soon as Kansas won that game in overtime. But they were showing double shots of Coach K walking out to all of his players, and ESPN was clearly bugging out because they were not expecting to not be able to air the Duke game live when it started. So it was amazing. You flip over and Duke was down by 4 points and 5 minutes have already run off the clock. And I was just imagining all the Duke fans at home who had planned their entire night around this and were sitting by the TV at 6 o'clock, but had to wait a half hour and didn't even get to see the beginning of their game. It was a beautiful thing. So for that to happen and them to lose and lose fairly handily, I mean, they did. They had a 9-point lead and just blew it. The Duke freshmen, I guess, were just not ready for that moment. I mean, Banchero was awesome as he usually is, but North Carolina they just played great. Their starters did not come off the floor for a second in the second half. Brady Manick and RJ Davis played every second of that game, and their starting five pretty much played the entire game. Their bench only played 14 minutes the entire game. So that starting five was just awesome. They hit big shot after big shot, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. To see Coach K fake yelling at the crowd to be quiet when they weren't even making noise so that he could apologize for that loss. It was a beautiful thing. Did you see that? Did you see that, Bill?
No,
It's
no,
like,
I
no,
said
please,
nothing.
please be quiet. This is unacceptable. And no one was even making noise, but it was just clearly him trying to make a point and be dramatic. And it was just typical Coach K. It was awesome. I loved everything about that game. So that did make me feel a little bit better after a basketball loss and a baseball loss that day. I couldn't have asked for anything better with the Duke game.
It was wild. And yesterday again, we were up in Spartanburg in the Greer area for a soccer tournament, and which obviously kind of close to the North Carolina, and so some North Carolina teams had come down, and boy, the baby blue was out in force yesterday, and I talked to a couple North Carolina fans that I kind of ran into up there, and man, they were having quite the day, quite the feelings. So there was that from the weekend. That was kind of the big storylines. Few other things happened there over the weekend. Jen, I'm not even going to pretend that I know who won the NASCAR race this morning because I'll be honest, we didn't get back until late yesterday afternoon. How did I do? How did I do? Just tell me how I did. Where was my where did William, was it Byron who I had?
Yeah, you had William Byron. Alex Bowman ended up winning the race, which, much to Kyle Busch's chagrin, Kyle went on a foul mouthed rant about Bowman winning. Something about he just backs into wins and whatever. But Byron came in fifth. Kyle Larson actually came in second, so that helped Reggie. And
Okay.
then Truex came in eighth, and Elliott came in ninth. So
Okay, so not too bad there
mm-mm,
for the weekend. So
good
that
race.
was entertaining. Yeah, it's been a busy weekend for me as we tried to bounce back. But we'll talk obviously a lot of South Carolina athletics today because the weekend it was. I think now, yes, you ask more and more questions now about this baseball program, and that's where I know a lot of people will want to have the discussion today. Again, a very good Friday night atmosphere over at Founders Park. I know a lot of people are fired up. You got, as Patrick pointed out, you had a great performance from Will Sanders on Friday night as he comes out and really gives you everything you need in a Friday night starter. 7 innings. He gave up just 6 hits, walked 5, struck out 14. Was just really, really good. Gives South Carolina every opportunity to win that game. Wesley Sweat gets the ball in the 8th inning and gives up a run, and then John Gilreath comes in the 9th and gives up the game winner, and South Carolina unable to break through in the bottom half of the 9th. And Patrick, yeah, I mean, the pitching not good after that, but also just 6 runs all weekend. And Clemson's staff, we'd kind of talked about it. John Whittle had mentioned it, that their staff off to a pretty good start this year. Saturday, South Carolina seemed to hang around about as long as possible, and then errors started occurring in the field, mental breakdowns. The Gamecocks committed 3 errors on Saturday. There was a 4-run fourth for the Tigers. They really put it away with a 3-run seventh at that point to go up 8-2. But South Carolina also not exactly great from the plate all weekend. Clemson's pitchers were able to kind of shut them down and keep them in check when you put up just 6 runs all weekend. And you are right, the pitching's got issues. The hitting looks like it may still have issues. I don't know. The question I see a lot of you already asking, and Patrick, I don't know if it's too soon to ask. I don't know if it's fair to ask, but I certainly where this team goes with Mark Kingston here. When you look at this coming weekend against Texas, next weekend against Tennessee, the following weekend against Vanderbilt, it seems like a mountain to climb right now.
Yeah. So I don't know what I assume you're more disappointed in the hitting in the bats this weekend because, again, 6 runs is not good at all for a lineup like South Carolina's, and you expected the pitching staff to struggle, and yes, they did, but you need to be able to play complementary baseball and have one side lift up the other side, and if you know that you don't have your guys, your studs on the mound, the bats are going to have to play well, and you're going to have to score some runs. And to score 6 runs an entire weekend is just brutal. So it's not like Texas's staff is worse than Clemson's, and you're going to be able to go light them up, or even Tennessee and Knoxville, and then Vanderbilt, and then you'll get Missouri and Georgia, and maybe have a chance to win a series. But again, you just look forward, and just there's no easy weekends anymore. You can't even look at Missouri and say, okay, well, there's a series win, because the way South Carolina is playing right now, if you score 6 runs and go ahead and pitch the guys, your relievers basically as starters, I don't know how you can expect to win any series. So the Kingston questions are premature right now because there's just so much baseball left to be played. But if this is any hint at what we're going to get for the rest of the year, if you go out and get swept at home against Texas, and then you go to Knoxville and get swept, and then win one game here, one game there, if you just drop series after series after series, then yeah, I mean, nobody's going to care how banged up you are because it's a results-based business. So it's definitely, it's hard to find the positives right now.
It is. It's going to be an interesting morning. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. Jump in, and certainly we will take as many opinions as possible via the text line, via the Buford Lending live stream. Gamecock Zach weighing in. He says, let's be honest, Mark Kingston had one good season with Holbrook's players. Holbrook was fired and had more success than Kingston. Kingston has a losing record in the SEC, hasn't had a 40-win season, and finished no better than 3rd in the East, and now swept by Clemson. This is unacceptable. Carolina fans deserve better. Jason weighs in. Some positivity this morning. Softball win this weekend. Appreciate that, Jason. And then Richard, great weekend as my Tar Heels thrashed Duke. Pretty nice payout. Put 500 on the money line for the Tar Heels. Yes, that would probably be a pretty good line, because I did see where that game was going off at. The North Carolina was plus 11. So pretty good weekend there. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. DJ, not sure I'm still on the fence about this. Why would Duke fans still be under the covers this morning? They're ACC champs again and demolished UNC by a worse margin at the Dean Dome. DJ, that was, I don't know. It's not embarrassing, right, Patrick, that they lost? It was the moment that it happened in. That was Krzyzewski's final home game. I guess the patriarch of Duke basketball. I mean, the run under him the last 41 years, incredible, absolutely incredible. You have everything going for you. Tickets are going for, $150,000. I don't know if you saw, I did catch Holly Rowe talking about the tickets there that she was getting, talking about prices, Duke fans getting in the door. You had what I could see again. It looked like every major Duke player there was in attendance from the last 30 years, maybe longer. I mean, you had Jerry Seinfeld, you had Adam Silver was in the building. What was some other celebrities there? I know they panned through. Kim Jong-un was I'm sorry. He wasn't there. Ken Jong. Okay, I was close. There was an added that guy was, the other one was not there. Yeah, Ken Jong was there.
That's awesome.
From The Hangover.
That's awesome.
And other movies. Yeah, so I'm sorry. That would have been the North Korean leader. That would have been something.
He loves him some Coach K.
Yeah. Oh boy, we're off and rolling on a
They
Monday
both
morning.
love unpaid labor.
803-404-6100. But no, I disagree with DJ on that. That was, yeah, you destroyed Duke. Yeah, you destroyed North Carolina. Yeah, you won another ACC championship. But in a moment that's going to be like anything else at Cameron Indoor for a long, long time. That was a letdown, as you mentioned. Then you're trying to do the post game ceremonies afterwards. Quite something else. So,
yeah, well, just the fact that ESPN had been hyping it up for week after week. It's been the Duke fans, the Cameron crazies have been camped out since January 23rd. So yeah, to just have an embarrassing performance and it not even be close at the end and lose to your rival, and you got assistant coaches refusing to shake hands in the handshake line. It was awesome for everyone that hates Duke, watching all the little kids cry and Coach K's grandkids crying and all the students in their Sesame Street outfits with their runny makeup and crying. It was for anyone that grew up hating Duke, it was just a great night. Not that Duke's season's over and they can't win the national championship still. They can't win the ACC still. Like there's plenty ahead of them, but for that to be the last moment that was built up like that, it was amazing.
I do think that there is some of that. 803-404-6100 is it's funny. Yeah. Richard says, man, I've heard you say some crazy stuff, but Kim Jong-un, man, I'm dying. Yeah, I was my bad. Wrong guy. 803-404-6100. Jen, let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines this morning. Gamecock Larry, first up with I think the attitude, hopefully, that's going to put everybody. I told you not to be negative, Larry, on Friday. Unfortunately, everything doesn't go South Carolina's way. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. I'm used to disappointments. But number one, the Gamecock ladies, they got to tighten up in that fourth quarter. And it was a good game, but I'm not worried about the Lady Gamecocks. What about the softball team? Did they win?
Somebody takes.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know.
I just told you they won.
If they didn't win, we had a shutout. But I want to say a little bit about this baseball team. How many times did they put Wesley Sweat in last year, or John Gillis in the late innings, when Sweat would give up a home run? Sometimes he gave up two. Gamecock baseball fans remember. And Gamecock basketball fans, I want you to listen. Baseball fans, you ran Holbrook off with your comments, and Tanner had to get rid of him. Be careful, basketball fans, because you see what we got in baseball. Now, you basketball fans, you better be careful with your comments. We got to keep Coach Frank. We got to keep him. But that's about all we got to say. But it's got to tighten up in the last quarter. Home run Sweat. That's what I'm gonna call him, because many times not many times, but just about every time they put him in, he gave up a home run. He sure did. But then Gillis, I don't know. But we're going to be okay. Old Gamecock Larry been a Gamecock for 87 years, almost 88. Old Gamecock Larry going to be a Gamecock fan as long as he's alive. I'm going to keep my chin up. I'm going to keep my hopes up. And we're going to be in football in the Final Four in 2024. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later, Bill, Patrick, and Jen. Who won the race? Who between you and Jen?
Well, Bill's driver did come in a little bit ahead of mine.
He did. You mean to tell me Bill came in ahead of you again? Well,
I know.
We got to catch him.
He just was not right.
Yeah, we're going to catch him, though, Bill. I know he's sitting back laughing now.
Yeah, he's only leading the points by one.
He beat you by one?
Yeah, so we're still good.
Well, you'll make that up next weekend, okay?
Absolutely.
Go Gamecocks. Go Jen. Keep your chin up. Everything's going to be all right. Go Gamecocks.
There you go. All right. 803-404-6100 if you want to follow that up this morning. Again, South Carolina baseball right now, we'll just have to see where this thing goes, because you're 3 weekends in. I was looking at the D1 top 25 this weekend. The number one team in the country, Texas, with a pretty good week, went 3-1. They did lose the week finale to UCLA 5-1. We've mentioned it. Vanderbilt, who is also part of the next 3 weekends, they're 3 weeks away. They had a real good week, going 5-0, beating Central Arkansas and sweeping a series at Hawaii is how it's listed. So they're to 10-2 now. Tennessee, the team who's 2 weeks away, had a pretty good week. Their only loss was to Texas in the tournament out there, 7-2 loss. They now sit at 10-1 on the season. So yeah, Patrick, right now for South Carolina baseball, certainly there's no time. You get Xavier on Tuesday night. There's no time to throw a pity party and sulk and say, woe is us. You've got to turn it around very quickly. Otherwise, this thing gets out of hand real quick. And we'll talk more about that. We'll get more into that as we go through this hour. Also, we'll look ahead. The SEC basketball tournament gets going on Wednesday night. Missouri and Mississippi, Vanderbilt and Georgia, and then South Carolina, Mississippi State will be the game for the Gamecocks, 6 p.m. Eastern time. That game down in Tampa. Everything will be televised through Friday on the SEC, or through Thursday. Friday it'll start with some ESPN games. But we've got March Madness upon us now officially. We're this time next week, Patrick, will be starting to break down and analyze the NCAA tournament and what the selection committee has done, and see if South Carolina can make a run. They're set up now. We know their path. They will get Mississippi State again 6 p.m. on Thursday night, and then that will lead them into a game potentially against Tennessee 6 p.m. on Friday. So we'll talk more about that as we go through the weekend. We'll go back and look at that girls game. That was pretty surprising as well. They had a big lead, were not able to hold on there against Kentucky yesterday for another SEC championship. Aaliyah Boston, 21 points and 11 rebounds in 34 minutes of action, but again, a 64-62 loss. We'll talk more about that. We'll get into everything this morning. If you want to weigh in, again, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler of the Extra Point here. Coming up on Monday's Extra Point, plenty of reaction to a full weekend of Gamecock action. Obviously, the Carolina Clemson baseball series, the men's basketball regular season finale, and of course, the SEC women's basketball tournament. All the reaction, highlights, and analysis coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
It is that time of year that you start thinking about some summer vacations and being able to take a trip, maybe go somewhere this summer. Well, one of the things you might want to do is get some money back in your pocket to do that. You can do that by refinancing right now with our good friend Benji Getzy of Buford Lending. That's how you might want to do that. Rates are right now are a little higher than they were during the pre-pandemic, but it's still a great opportunity right now to get in touch with Benji Getzy and his team at Buford Lending and see what they can do for you. That's right. Buford Lending named one of the top 1% of producing loan officers in the state of South Carolina and the entire United Wholesale Mortgage Network. Give them a phone call today, 843-524-2404. You can visit them on the web, buford.mortgage. If you're purchasing or if you're thinking about refinancing, now is the time to shop your rate with Benji. He will get you a lower interest rate, which will give you more buying power. Again, the rates, they're still excellent. There's still a great opportunity out there for you to purchase. If you're a first-time home buyer, it's even better. Don't wait around. Call Buford Lending today, 843-524-2404. All Benji needs is a few minutes to give you a free evaluation of your current mortgage situation, maybe make a few suggestions and see if he can earn your business. You don't have that asking from people often nowadays, wanting to just earn your business, show you how hard they work. Benji has 25 years of experience, and he will help shop and lock your rate in today. Call Benji Getzy and Buford Lending, 524-2404. Or again, visit them on the web, Buford.mortgage. You need to give them a chance to give you a free evaluation. Call Buford Lending today, 843-524-2404.
Glass.com.
All right. I'm trying to think of everything I missed yesterday since we didn't get back to like 7:30 last night.
I don't know what happened last night. I went to bed extremely early last night.
I mean, I feel like I'm so far behind after the weekend. Morning tea. Yeah, I really needed that extra 35 minutes this morning, just laying there. All of us are exhausted. I ended up just giving the kids the day off from school just to let them take a day to recuperate. Because yeah. Yeah, that was a good way to start the program. Kim Jong. Really? Is it just Kim Jong, Patrick? Am I right on that? Were you right on that? Is it just Kim Jong?
Ken.
Yeah, Ken. And I can't even get it right now. Ken. And that's the easy part of it.
And he's a doctor.
And he's a doctor. He did go to Duke. Yeah, that's where he's, yeah.
He'll need 3 days off just for that. The spring forward.
He actually went to Duke and UNC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got another soccer tournament next weekend. And we spring forward. Hey, good job, Craig. Congratulations. And thank goodness for Facebook memories. Craig, you're from North Augusta, even though I guess you're a little bit older. I saw Courtney Knuckles. I don't remember what Trey Knuckles' wife. I don't think Courtney was from North Augusta. Trey Knuckles is, though. I saw his wife over the weekend. She came up and saw her, I guess her niece or a cousin or somebody at the pageant. As you can tell, we're all very lively this morning. I'm going to pick some cold brew coffee here in the next break. Oh, boy. Sky behind me looks pretty. Kind of grayish.
You still have a minute.
Oh. And Patrick, you see you got the next spot there on the next live, right? Okay.
Yep.
Oh. Jen, I'm guessing if you get that promo, I'm thinking there's an updated promo for the golf tournament. Did y'all see where we moved that?
Yeah, I just saw the email.
Okay. $6:33 on a Monday morning, March the 7th. We are fully into the month of March. At least this time last week we were wrapping up the final day of February, but we are into March now. So it will be time for March Madness. And at least yesterday, at least in the first 30 minutes, we've been talking a little bit of sadness. Rough weekend for the Gamecocks. Beach volleyball also did not fare very well out in TCU. Patrick, did you see the women's beach volleyball team did respond via Twitter to our questions about why the early start time, and it did have to do with lots of games being played. That's why they started so early out there in Fort Worth. So they said Patrick was correct on that. But yeah, a tough weekend across the board. That's what we've been talking about. The baseball team, South Carolina, puts forth a great effort on Friday night, and it looked like they had a great opportunity to win. It was 2-1 going into the 8th, but unfortunately, Clemson finds a way to score a run in the 8th, score a run in the 9th, and they pull off a 2-1 victory. And Patrick, you knew I had a bad feeling. I don't know how you absorbed that game Friday night. I watched it here, streamed it on the television, and it was an opportunity for South Carolina. You mentioned Will Sanders goes out, strikes out 14, walks 5, and puts South Carolina in great position as he exits to win the ball game. And when Clemson's able to score that run in the 9th inning, it didn't feel good for the rest of the week. You had a feeling that things were on the verge of collapsing, and there was still 18 innings of baseball to be played. And sure enough, South Carolina comes out on Saturday, gets 1 run in the first, and looks like they might have a little momentum. And Clemson then would have a 4-run fourth that shut down the Gamecocks, and they motor onto a 10-2 victory Saturday afternoon over at Segra Park. And then yesterday they put the Raps on a sweep, a 5-2 victory for the Tigers up at Doug Kingsmore. And again, yesterday, South Carolina does get 10 hits. We talked about the bats not really working. It was a matter of not being able to get guys across the plate. And that's something you certainly need to be able to do.
I don't even know. I didn't watch the game yesterday because I was driving home and honestly just assumed the rate things are going right now. It's a relatively momentum-based sport. It just felt like there was no chance yesterday. So Saturday, you really needed to respond. That was the big one to me. You gave it up late. It happens. It hurts when you got your Friday night guy just pitching a gem, and he was awesome. Got out of big jams and big spots, and he couldn't have done more for you, Will Sanders. But for everybody to respond on Saturday and say, look, that was unlucky. We played a really good game for basically 7.5 innings. We got to come back. Still in Columbia. We got to win this game. And to just get your doors absolutely blown off in that game was really disappointing. And really no one really played well in that game. I don't know who you would look at and say they played well. I mean, you rely on Eister a lot, and he was 0 for 3. He did end up scoring a run, but I mean, Braswell goes 2 for 4. There was some people got a couple hits, but total you get 7 hits, and Clemson scores on every hitter. I mean, they had 10 hits and 10 runs, and it just you can't win that way. And I don't know what really happened yesterday, but it just looks like another rough one. They've had a habit of stranding runners, and that's been a thing going back to last year as well. And I don't know how necessarily you fix that, but it is unfortunate. It's gonna have to get fixed because runs or hits are tough to come by in this conference, even against teams like Clemson that are good, that have good pitching staffs. You're gonna have to score when you get guys on base, and again, it's gonna only get harder. Texas is, I don't know how many MLB guys they have on their staff right now, but you're going to be pitching against superstars. So you got to score runs. You got to figure out a way.
Yeah, yesterday, I mean, I think if South Carolina had won, either if South Carolina holds on and wins 2-1 on Friday night, maybe we view things a little bit different. Again, Clemson scored 2 there, obviously 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. They go on to win 3-2, and then you get blown out on Saturday, a game that really got ugly there down the stretch. Yesterday, South Carolina hangs around. They've got opportunities. You mentioned it, 10 guys left on base yesterday for South Carolina. They do scratch and claw back. They fell down there 3-0. They cut it to 3-2 going into the bottom half of the eighth, or they scored the second one in the sixth. But in the bottom half of the eighth, they're still down 3-2. However, again, the bullpen kind of gets to them. They just not really able to get the job done there, and they end up giving a home run in the eighth, and then they give up another run to make it a 5-2 ball game. So they're right there in the bottom of the eighth. But again, Patrick, you leave 10 on base. Again, you did have 10 hits yesterday, so you're putting the ball in play. Clemson 5 runs scored on 6 hits. The Gamecocks also, this part, and I think this is another concerning part. Saturday and Sunday, you have a combined 6 errors. So your bullpen struggling, getting guys across the plate right now seems to be an issue, and your fielding right now seems to be a bit of an issue. And these are the kind of things, I mean, it's not just one area that you point to and say, boy, if we can fix that, maybe things will straighten up a little bit for us here. That's the concern. And as you just mentioned, and I think if you had, say, Xavier, who is the Tuesday night opponent, coming to town this coming weekend, then maybe say, okay, we got to get right series. We can sweep Xavier. We can feel a little bit better about ourselves. Instead, this weekend you have the number 1 team in the country coming. 7:00 will be first pitch Friday night at Founders Park. 4:00 on Saturday and 1:30 Sunday. Should be another absolutely phenomenal weekend of weather, I believe, and should be something that you can definitely enjoy. But we'll continue talking about the baseball program, other things from the weekend. Again, basketball dropping a decision there to Auburn, and the women's team also 64-62 losing to Kentucky in the SEC championship game. We'll get to all that. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Mike is on the phone wanting to weigh in on South Carolina baseball. Good morning, Mike. What's on your mind?
Well, Patrick, the first thing to answer your question about Saturday, even though he didn't have a hit, Brant Belt tagged the ball several times on Saturday. So even though it won't show up in the score column, in the box score, he had a great game. But anyway, the bullpen this weekend, I'm a little confused as to why we go to certain guys. Clearly this weekend, Wesley Sweat proved that he will give up the homer. He gave one up Friday. He gave one up yesterday. And I don't understand why guys like Cam Tringale, who's proven in the past that he can come in and give us good innings, why he's not getting more time. Obviously Aiden Hunter did great. Matthew Becker did great. But there are guys in there that, can give us good innings, and I'm just not quite sure why that we're not doing that. And then, yesterday, Kevin Madden, he got eaten up by a ground ball. He looked like he was a little leaguer, y'all. I mean, that stuff's got to get cleaned up. I mean, it just we just got some issues that we're going to have to clean up. We got time, but it's got to get cleaned up. And just, I'll hang up and listen, and thank you.
Appreciate the phone call, Mike. Yeah, I mean, what Mike's saying is right in terms of South Carolina has time. They've only played 11 games on the season. Patrick, the problem is the teams you're about to play, they're playing an elite level right now. And that's the scary part. Like he's right. He is right. This is still very early in the season. There's no reason to believe. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say there's no reason to believe, but there's reason to believe you can turn this thing around, and that you can get some guys back and get them healthy on the staff, and that you can fix the errors in the field, and the hitting can really get going, and you can get guys across the plate. The concern, I think, isn't, to me, is can South Carolina maybe fix some things and get on the right course? It's, hey, the teams you're playing are already on the right course. Texas is rolling right now, and there's your opponent for this weekend. Tennessee, and you got to go to Knoxville, Patrick. I guess it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. Vanderbilt is rolling right now and comes to Founders Park the 24th, 25th, 26th. In between that, you do have midweek games against the Citadel, Gardner-Webb, and Xavier. So you have some midweek games that maybe you can build some momentum on, but it feels like the weekends are where right now you could have that momentum just sucked right away.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a week that you have a get right week. The midweek is one thing, but just saying, yeah, you got one day and then 3 tough ones, that's not really an opportunity. You're gonna have to figure it out on the fly, and in game is really the only way you're gonna figure it out. And I mean, he did Mike did make some interesting points. Like the Cam Tringali thing has been very confusing. He mentioned him, and I remember that he just like was not a factor at all last year, and I don't remember him being hurt. If he was, someone correct me on that. But I mean, he only pitched a third of an inning all of last year, and I remember getting asked about that and why he wasn't pitching, and I didn't have an answer for him. So I don't know about that one, and yeah, just about the fielding. I mean, you have to be able to lift other units up. If you can't hit the baseball, then the pitching has to do well. If you're not being able to to shut guys down on the mound, you got to be able to score runs. And if you can't do either of those, then you got to at least make the routine plays. And that's just the one that's a really hard pill to swallow. Just messing up simple plays. And Kevin Madden, I thought was really good the first couple series, locking it down. But I mean, everybody struggles at times, and maybe it's just a situation where you're not seeing the ball well at the plate, and it just trickles on down to everything. You're overthinking everything, and it's a long series. It's hot out, and things just become more difficult. But you do have to figure it out. I mean, you can't come in and have Texas just blow you out every single game. That'll leave a really, really bad taste in people's mouths if they come to Founders Park next week and then come get 3 wins and South Carolina's really not even a part of it. You can't have it such that people aren't even showing up to the ballpark on Sunday because they just know that it's probably not going to go well.
803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program this morning. If you want to weigh in, again, you can certainly do that. A lot to get into. We'll get back into some other stuff. That Coach K game up at Cameron Indoor, that was, boy, if you're a Duke fan, you're feeling pretty low about that one at this point. And some other things going on around sports. The Major League Baseball Players Association and Major League Baseball trying to get together. Weird proposal over the weekend that comes out regarding some playoff stuff with ghost wins, Patrick. I don't know if you saw that. So at least they're negotiating, I guess. I guess you're happy about that. We'll see if anything is able to come of that this week. We'll get into a little bit of that, and we'll cover a few more areas that things that occurred over the weekend. We need to get Patrick's recap of the NFL Combine. Who looked good, who may have hurt themselves. Jordan Davis apparently really wowing people there. Yeah, really, I hear that in your voice right there. We'll get into that. There's a lot to talk about from the weekend that was. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next halftime show.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford here. Coming up on the halftime show Monday. Recap of all the weekend action around Gamecock land. Baseball, basketball, and more small hands from the Combine.
You know what? It's so much sports, Jay. I'm going to strap on a diaper and not leave the couch.
Monday at noon. See ya.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy. Noon to 3 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, set to be a great weekend. Hopefully that rain can hold off. And as we mentioned, a three-game home series against the number one team in college baseball this week. And with Texas coming to Founders Park, you'll probably want to be out there. Going to be a lot of standing around, maybe chasing home run balls and foul balls and whatnot. You got to be feeling your best this weekend. And if you're not, if you've got some joint pain, you want to check out Prisma Health Orthopedics. They are the official team physicians for the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Clemson Tigers. So you'll be getting the best care that the best athletes in the state get. Not only that, they are the most comprehensive orthopedic group in the region. They've got 65 specialists across their 6 locations, so they can serve you however you need. So if hip and knee pain is making your daily life difficult, you got to seek the best care and find out if it's affecting your quality of life. So get out there and take a free health assessment. They offer free health assessments, no risk, no money. Just go out there and check them out. The region's most trusted orthopedic practice with a deep-rooted history spanning nearly a century. They've got innovative procedures, and they've been teaching the next generation of orthopedic physicians the same thing. So they offer a full-service walk-in orthopedic urgent care clinic for all sports injuries, strains, sprains, fractures, or just chronic joint pain. They've got a foundation for patient-centered care and innovation resulting in the best services for their patients. So again, if joint pain's bothering you, hip pain, knee pain, you want to get it worked on. You got to get it checked out. No better way than taking the free health assessment at Prisma Health Orthopedics. They'll treat you right, just like they treat all the Gamecocks and Clemson Tigers right. So get out there, check them out, take the free health assessment. And if you want to learn more, you can visit them online by looking up prismahealth.org/orthopedics. One more time, that's prismahealth.org/orthopedics. All right, the last 43 seconds of the women's game are on SEC Network right now in case anyone wants to relive it. Just as the top 10 plays and number 9 is the three-pointer. Brutal.
Very. But I mean, how do you let them come back?
I have no idea. I mean, they had an 11-point lead, I think, going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it ended up like 15 points by the time it was all said and done.
You never see that.
Mm-mm. Just weird. I mean, again, it's not like the women's team is incapable. It just, how does that get away from you?
It wasn't like Kentucky was hitting any miraculous shots either. Oh, there's Calipari's at the game too. Yikes.
As far as the race results, Carey did the best. He had Truex, who came in 8th. Actually, nope. I've got that backwards. Sorry. Kyle Larson came in 2nd. So Reggie Anderson technically won this week.
Did Reggie put his pick in first?
No, he put it in last.
No, he still went last?
Yep. And then Bill came in 2nd. He had Byron, who was 5th. Truex was 8th. And that was Carey's. And Chase Elliott came in 9th, which is me. So it's for the overall points, Bill has 10, I have 9, and Carey and Reggie are tied for 7th.
Here we go. South Carolina's got the ball. 18 seconds left in the game. No shot clock. All right, Bill, we're back.
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen. On your home, of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Eight zero 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning if you feel it necessary to do so. Want to weigh in with your opinion? Can certainly do that as a busy weekend of sports taking place. Another thing that was taking place was the NFL Combine, Patrick, and we'll get more into this next hour, but Jordan Davis, kind of the storyline of the weekend. Now, I'm not sure where you stand necessarily on Jordan Davis, but the big man, 341 pounds, runs a 4.78 40-yard dash. I don't know what that means, again, in the grand scheme of things. It's not like he should ever have to run 40 yards down the field to make a tackle, but I reckon that'll be a pretty I reckon that was a pretty impressive feat and something to brag about.
It was more than pretty impressive. I mean, there's a lot of linebackers and tight ends and such that he is faster than at 340 pounds. I mean, he is, I think, the fastest 300-pounder, or he was the fastest defensive tackle behind only Devontae Wyatt, who was his teammate on the defensive line there. He is the fastest over 340-pounder ever by a lot. Like, the first person to do this was Dontari Poe 10 years ago, however long it was, and people were just stunned that he ran under 5 seconds at that weight. Jordan Davis went way under 5 seconds. 4.78 is a ridiculous time. He was faster than just so many people that should be much faster than him. I'm just looking at the linebackers, and I mean, there's 3 linebackers: Josh Ross from Michigan, Nate Landman from Colorado, and Jesse Luketa from Penn State that were slower than him. You shouldn't be able to do what he did at that weight. It's truly ridiculous, and his just overall athletic score was off the charts. 32-inch vertical and a 12-foot broad jump at that weight is truly ridiculous. Like, he is a different type of athlete, and it's one of the more impressive combines we've seen in a very long time. You shouldn't be that athletic at that weight. So what does it mean for him in the draft? I don't know. I don't know what his stamina's like. There's a lot to like about his game. Obviously, he's just a run stuffer and will swallow up 2 people at any given time, but he can't play 3 downs. He doesn't rush the passer. And as far as just the overall impact on your team, I don't know how great it will be, but I'm pretty sure that someone's going to say they don't make athletes like this on the planet Earth very often. So get me this player and I will just figure out what to do with him, even if it's only 2 downs, just knowing that he can reliably stop the run on every play. I'm pretty sure he's going to end up going top 15 at this point.
Be interesting. We'll get more of your take. Aiden Hutchinson, his performance, and Kayvon Thibodeau, his performance there at the Combine in the next hour, and if that helps separate either one of them for you. We'll get back into the baseball, the basketball. I haven't talked much about the men's basketball yet. Their performance on Saturday, as Patrick mentioned, I think in our brief top discussion about it, very up and down. So a lot to get to as we roll into hour number 2 of the early games. Bill Gunner, Patrick Creighton, Jen Jensen, 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute. Can we stop talking about quarterbacks' hand sizes finally? Want to draft Pitt's Kenny Pickett? Don't let his 8.5-inch finger span deter you. While Michael Vick managed just fine with an 8.5-inch hand, analysts claim 9.5 inches should be the minimum. Tell that to Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Both only had 9-inch hands. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Travis, I don't believe that Warren Sapp tested at the Combine because he failed a drug test when he got there. But pretty much any other metric, he was elite. I don't know. Who was the last, I'll just go to, Quinnen Williams. He was top 3 pick, defensive tackle. For Aaron, I'll just do Aaron Donald. So yeah, Quinnen Williams was the number 3 pick, 38 pounds lighter, and ran a 4.83 40 versus Jordan Davis's 4.78. His vertical was 2 inches lower, and his broad jump was a full inch. Better athlete than him. All right, let's see what Aaron Donald did. Aaron Donald ran a 4.68 at 285 pounds. So 55 pounds lighter than Jordan Davis. Same vertical. And Jordan Davis's broad jump was better. Crazy. Aaron Donald got a grade of 5.9 as a prospect on NFL.com, saying that he would be an average backup or special teamer. Yikes. Jordan Davis got a 6.43. Sure can. Yeah, I think that's 50. Top 15 is going to happen. I don't know if I would want him in the top 15. I definitely don't think he deserved to be. What's the award for best defensive player in college football? I can't remember what it's called. Oh yeah, the Bednarik Award. I don't think he should have won the Bednarik Award, but whatever. The whole Georgia defense was ridiculous. I guess we'll get into it, but during the show. But him, Devontae Wyatt, Tyndall, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, and Lewis Seen ran a 4.38. That defense is just absurd. And the best of all of them is Jalen Carter, who's still in school. All right, we're back, Bill. Carter's a defensive lineman, sophomore last year. And our number 2 kicking off now here on the early game. Fairly depressing hour 1. It's a lot. High expectations for this weekend, as we discussed on Friday. Pearson had the great poll question. If only one of these things could happen, but the other 2 were guaranteed not to happen, which would you pick? Gamecocks win the baseball series over Clemson. Women basketball win the SEC tournament. Men's basketball beats Auburn. Well, turns out none of them happened. Women's basketball went 1-1, but lost in dramatic fashion, which is playing on the SEC network right now. I'm just watching Kentucky celebrate, and it's pretty depressing. Gamecock baseball was hardly competitive outside of Friday night. And men's basketball lost to Auburn as we kick off SEC tournament week for the men's side of things. The only positives, really, we talked about was for the anti-Duke crowd, Bill, and that was amazing. And then I guess the combine. Was there any other positives from the weekend for you? I mean, you were at the recital for most of the weekend, so you didn't, I assume, watch much other sports.
I watched. It had a break Saturday afternoon in between soccer games, or soccer, and going to the Gilbert Middle School pageant that my daughter was a part of. That was a lot of fun to be at, and enjoyed that thoroughly for her. And again, I said my son and I were. We got there about 40 minutes early to get good seats, so we had time to pop up the Duke North Carolina game on my cell phone and be able to take that in and watch some of that. But other than that, Saturday was able to watch a little bit of South Carolina and Auburn basketball. I think that was pretty much the only other time I was able to really get into sports this weekend. It was a pretty entertaining weekend of college basketball, as you kind of mentioned, Patrick. Obviously, it was highlighted by North Carolina going into Cameron Indoor and absolutely ruining the career finale at Cameron Indoor for Mike Krzyzewski. You had all the big names in attendance. It was just an incredible atmosphere. Just watching it on my phone, not really being able to hear it, but absolutely phenomenal atmosphere. But give credit to North Carolina. I didn't see that one coming. But you go down the list of the other top 25 teams from the weekend, Patrick. No real surprises. Not like a couple weeks ago where you had the 6 top teams in the country lose and 7 out of the top 9 lose. This weekend, Arizona gets the job done. They thump California. Baylor rolls over Iowa State. You do have that Duke loss. Auburn, number 5 in the country. They take down South Carolina. Jabari Smith with 21. We'll get more into that coming up this hour. Kansas rolls over Texas in overtime, 70-63. Kentucky, a 71-63 winner over Florida. Purdue finds a way to gut out a 2-point home victory over Indiana. You had Villanova thumping Jen's alma mater, Butler, 78-59. Texas Tech. The loser, there's your first ranked team to lose. They lose to Mike Boynton's Oklahoma State team, 52-51. Tennessee, 78-74 over Arkansas. That was actually a huge comeback, Patrick. I don't know if you saw that on Saturday. A huge comeback by Arkansas. They were down. I think it was 52-32 was the biggest deficit they faced, and they ended up rallying. Tennessee having to make some shots down the stretch to win that ball game, and Tennessee will be South Carolina's potential opponent, or likely will be their opponent. Tennessee will await the winner of South Carolina, Mississippi State in the SEC tournament, which gets going Wednesday night. A few others from the weekend, Patrick. Not sure how much you kind of kept up with all of it. LSU knocks off now number 25 Alabama in Baton Rouge, 80-77. That game went to overtime. Southern Cal, another loser this weekend, but they dropped a game to 17th ranked UCLA. UCLA winning 75-68, and Connecticut 75-68 over DePaul. That was kind of your weekend that was in college basketball, Patrick. Again, a fun weekend to wrap things up. You had some really good games, but you didn't have outside of the Duke game, you didn't have the massive surprises that we had seen the last few weeks. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at heading into, I guess, the official start to March Madness. Is that right? Is this where you label the start to March Madness when you get into conference tournament week?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the number one play I've been watching on SportsCenter is this half-court buzzer beater from Tulsa. And yeah, there's all sorts of craziness happening right now. I don't know that we've had a bid stealer yet. There's only, I think, 3 tickets punched at this point. So not much, but this week and this weekend should be big, and I'll be excited to see all that. But yeah, I didn't watch a ton of college basketball. I watched that Texas-Kansas game, and then I watched the Duke-UNC game. Other than that, I just watched the Maryland lacrosse game. So outside the baseball and South Carolina basketball games, that was it for me. But that was enough. I can't get enough of the Duke-UNC, and I'm enjoying that SportsCenter is replaying everything from the weekend, and I've barely even seen the Duke-UNC game, even though they pumped it up for weeks on end leading up to it. They're just not discussing that Duke lost. That's
interesting.
ESPN is kind of shameless in all that, just hyping it up, and Jay Billis calling the game, and they would not take their hats off to North Carolina enough and just go right into the post game and say, it doesn't matter. They lost this game. But tonight's about Coach K. And I don't know what my favorite part of it was, but I think it might have been that Coach K says that he hates all of this stuff being about him, even though he announced it was his last year about 9 months ago, and said that he doesn't want to be a part of any of this, but narrated his own farewell video. Did you watch any of did you watch the send-off video, Bill?
No, I haven't. Again, because of the weekend that was, I have not had a chance to, kind of like you said, I've not had a chance to like really go back and rewatch the videos, rewatch anything that kind of occurred over the weekend. Just in terms of highlights, I was able to do some reading last night and kind of catch up on the weekend that was. Right. But in terms of again, I caught the first half of that game, and again, Duke, North Carolina, you're right. I think what they're saying is kind of right. Like in the big picture of college basketball, North Carolina going in and beating Duke is an upset in this particular year. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not the upset. The upset is the night that it occurred.
Right.
And like you said, the buildup. This was 9 months, 10 months, whenever he announced that this was the farewell tour. This was all in the making. Everything was there. Duke had already absolutely bombarded North Carolina up over in Chapel Hill. This was basically expected to be a cakewalk. It was expected to be 40 minutes of basketball, of just basketball greatness from Duke, celebrating champions of the past, celebrating the great Krzyzewski players, celebrating the Krzyzewski era, and it was just going to be a crowning moment for Duke as they just pummel their longtime rival and send them on the 8-mile journey back to Chapel Hill, just tail between legs and just disappointed. And all while Krzyzewski sits there and parades around Cameron Indoor after the game to, thunderous applause, and he's the king of college basketball, and oh my goodness, here goes this great guy. And instead, Patrick, North Carolina doesn't really just win that game. They popped Duke. I know it's a 13-point win, 94-81. They scored 55 on Duke in the second half, and they got control of this game. At least watching the only way I can describe it is watching the way Austin and my son were watching. which was constant score updates, having to hide our phones so other parents didn't think we were crazies there during the pageant. But North Carolina comes out and grabs the lead within the first 3 minutes, really, I think the first 2 minutes of the second half, and never lets it go. And not only never lets it go, they kind of build a lead with about 5 points, and then really just kind of pull away from Duke. I mean, that was I think there was one lead change there or somewhere in there. I mean, that's kind of the crazy thing is that North Carolina goes out, grabs this lead, Patrick, and pretty much then kind of runs away from the ball game. I'm looking at the big lead change. I said within 3 minutes they tied it there, but then it was the 9-minute mark when Armando Bacot hit the jumper that put them up 63-61. And it was like Duke was shocked that North Carolina had not rolled over and allowed them to have this great night for Krzyzewski. And North Carolina just pulls away and doesn't come down to a final second shot. It's a 13-point victory on Krzyzewski's final night. That's what makes it interesting is it was Krzyzewski's final night, not that it was North Carolina beating Duke.
Yeah, and they were bragging about the prices of the tickets. We mentioned $3,000 to get in the door, and they raffled off 4 tickets with the proceeds going to the Jimmy V Foundation. So they were going to be inflated a little bit, but somebody paid $1 million for 4 tickets, like $250,000 for 4 tickets to watch. That was incredible. All the celebrities that were going don't even care about sports, but they were going just to say that they were at Coach K's last game. Jerry Seinfeld looking old with his earplugs sitting next to Adam Silver. Hilarious. Just everything about it was beautiful. The game didn't start on time because the Kansas-Texas game went to overtime. I was rooting hard for double overtime in that game because it would have just been hysterical to miss a full half of the Duke-UNC game. But, yeah, I mean, UNC played a phenomenal game. Only 5 turnovers. Those guys played almost the entire game. Armando Bacot had to sit down for a little bit because he got in foul trouble fairly early, but he still played 30 minutes. Everyone else played 38 or 40 minutes. It was just completely run by the starting 5 of North Carolina, and they were making big-time plays, and RJ Davis is making acrobatic finishes. Brady Manick is looks like he hasn't showered in years or shaved in years, but he's just knocking down 3 balls, blocking shots. He was awesome. It was just a beautiful thing. I mean, they just closed it out, and Duke never made it competitive at the end. So it was beautiful to watch all the players just crossing their arms. The whole crowd of Duke players with their Duke shirts with the K logo instead of the D for Duke was awesome. And at the end, we have to just wait 20 minutes. All the players come walking out, sit on the court side, looking all depressed because they lost in Coach K's last game, and Coach K has to pretend to I don't even know how you would describe what he said to the crowd, but told them to shut up when they weren't even talking and trying to make it all about him once again. And then all these different administrators from Duke that no one's ever heard of giving 5 to 10 minute speeches was really annoying to watch. But then the video played, and the video was my favorite part of Coach K fully narrating like a 5-minute video after saying he doesn't want any of this to be about him, but he narrates his farewell video, says the word Krzyzewskiville, and just he is truly, I think, the most hateable coach in college basketball. If he wasn't so successful, that'd be one thing, but I don't even know what it is about him. Maybe if I didn't grow up a Maryland fan, I'd feel differently, but it was a beautiful time to be on Twitter with everyone just roasting Duke, because that's all it was. It was sad Duke fans saying it doesn't even matter that we lost. This is more about Coach K and his legacy than this particular game, and then everyone that's not a Duke fan just laughing at the fact that they lost. So I don't know. I'll never forget that night. It was amazing. Anytime anyone brings up Coach K's accolades, I'll just mention this game, and that'll be my counterpoint for the rest of my life. So I was very happy. I enjoyed every minute of it.
I think a lot of people did. A lot of people enjoyed what happened to Duke. Unfortunately, Duke is a polarizing team in college basketball, and certainly on Saturday night, they had a lot of people that were pulling for them, pulling for Coach K. They also had a lot of people pulling against them. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. You can hop on and join us on the Buford Lending live stream. A couple of people talking about that NFL Combine. We'll get back into that with Patrick, Andy, talking about the Patrick Mahomes 4.8 40-yard dash and how it compares to the 40-yard dash of Jordan Davis. We'll get back into that. We'll also talk about the baseball series that was over the weekend, and you can certainly take that thing a lot of ways. Clemson very dominant over the weekend, 3-2 on Friday night, 10-2 on Saturday, and 5-2 on Sunday afternoon for the sweep. And now South Carolina's got a turnaround Tuesday night. They'll host Xavier at Founders Park, 7 o'clock, first pitch there. And then this coming weekend, the number one team in the country. So even a step up in competition from this past weekend, which probably a little concerning. Texas rolls into town here. They're fresh off a loss to UCLA out in Houston, Texas this weekend. But Texas coming to Founders Park, part of that home and home series that was put together last year. It is fun to see a series like this, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I don't know if the excitement will necessarily be there. We'll see how South Carolina fans as we go on. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Weekend. Good times. And where was the other one at?
How much was gas for you?
Well, I stopped at a Lowe's out by Lexington High School, and there was like a line because it was like $3.59. And so there was a line like to get it. That was Friday. I got to get gas again this morning or at some point today. And I'm sure it'll be fantastic. If I can figure out how to adjust this to where I might have to turn it around. Yeah, it was $3.59. Yeah, that field, the tournament for us didn't go particularly well, but we kind of changed up some teams there, Jim. And but I mean the two fields, the field at I was impressed with the fields that we were in Irmo on Saturday morning, and we were at the field on Saturday morning, and then we were at Irmo on Saturday morning. And then yesterday we got up there, and they were nice, man. I wish Lexington had a facility similar to those. We had a good time. Yeah, it was. I think I got 3/4 of a tank RL for $50. So good times.
Yeah, I might just put a couple dollars in today. I do need gas because I drove to Greenwood.
We're all going to have to start working from home again
Yeah, that'll
because
help.
of gas prices.
I'm down with that. But then my SCE and G bill was way up last month too.
Why is that?
Yeah,
I guess the gas prices
I
went
don't think
up,
I'm looking
and
at
I
my
have
CNG bill.
my water heater is gas, I guess. I don't know. I had to run around my house on FaceTime with my dad trying to figure out why my bill was so expensive because I rent and I just get sent a screenshot from my landlord.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure to shower at my parents' house before I left.
There you go.
Couple dollars here, couple dollars there.
Yeah, I've heard that the electric
$80.
the electric bills, I think they were just talking about, yeah, they're going up. Good times, good times.
Yeah, we don't want me to comment on any of this.
About $100 higher. Crazy.
Oh boy.
I think I need to go see Batman today.
Oh, you still hadn't gone to see Batman?
No, I thought about doing it yesterday, but I was really tired. So, and I went to the weekends always screw me up. Yesterday was another one of those nights where I fell asleep at like 5 and woke up at 9 and just went to bed again. So I've been up basically since midnight or 1. I just can't get my clock right on the weekends. So I think I'm going to take a Benadryl when I get home, try and slump for 3 to 4 hours, and then go see Batman.
There you go. Yeah.
Need to let you know that the golf tournament, the 2022 1075 The Game Golf Tournament, originally scheduled for next Friday, March the 18th, has been moved to March 25th, the week after. If you've already signed up to play, everything is still good, but you need to call out. If you can't play, you need to call out to Windermere and Blythewood and let them know that you'll have to cancel. Again, it's 2-person captain's choice teams, $200 per team. We'll have raffle prizes closest to the pin. We'll also have a free breakfast and lunch going on. You can sign up at 1075thegame.com. You can join there for registration information. But a reminder, if you're just tuning in, the golf tournament originally scheduled for next Friday, March the 18th, has been moved to March 25th, the following Friday. So just 1 week back. But if you're not going to be a part of it, if you can't be a part of it, you can certainly call or let them know. 803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning to be a part of the program. If you want to weigh in, we've been talking about both the baseball and the women's basketball game. South Carolina men's basketball over the weekend, Patrick, they close it to within 24-22 in the first half. They get there. It looks like they're going to make a run, kind of keep it close for the first half, and then Auburn just explodes. Keyshawn Bryant is very, very up and down. There's some great moments from him, and then things can really just get away from him very quickly. And he had about a 3-play stretch that unfortunately just crushed Carolina. It was 24-22. He dribbled to his left, lost the basketball. It kind of bounced high on him. It turned into an easy layup for Auburn. Then he came down. There was a missed shot, and I don't want to say he loafed back on defense. He looked tired. The announcers were talking about it. He got screened. Taquan Woodley did not step up and guard Jabari Smith, and Smith nailed a 3-pointer. That turned it from a 2-point game to a 7-point game after the layup, and then Keyshawn tried a 3 from the corner. It resulted in a long rebound that was a run-out layup for Auburn, and a 2-point lead had magically turned into a 9-point lead within a matter of seconds. Auburn would go on a big run to go up 20 there in the first half, and the bottom line was at that point, South Carolina was playing from too far behind to make any kind of run. They did get it to within 6 late in the game, but it was just too much to overcome.
I mean, that's kind of been Keyshawn Bryant for a long time. He can give you big-time highlight reel momentum-changing plays, but he can also be a little, I don't know, spastic, sporadic at times where he'll just brick one or try and just try and do too much. And I don't know what's causing it. Maybe it's just missing a couple shots and things not going your way and just pressing a little bit, but it did. You mentioned it. That stretch killed him, and you really need to do everything right. I mean, we mentioned it last week. There's very few positions where you feel like you are better than Auburn, and they're a top 5 team for a reason. You needed to pretty much do everything right, and getting off to a bad start, you're down 17 points at the half, but partly because of that run. It's hard to climb back in and win games like that, and South Carolina kinda did it. I mean, I feel like it's been so many games like this where it's just one good half, and South Carolina outscored Auburn in the second half. Give it to them there, but it just wasn't enough, and Jermaine Couisnard was good once again. Shot a lot of shots, 17 attempts, but, only 2 turnovers. You'll take that and 4 assists, but he just continues to fill it up, and I don't know. I don't know if that performance, what it makes you feel for the SEC tournament, playing Mississippi State again, 3rd time there. 1 win's not going to be enough. If you beat them, you're going to get Tennessee, who has beaten you by combined, I think, 40 points. I don't know what you take from this Auburn game if you're a South Carolina basketball fan. Woodlands Levesque, that's a whole nother subject. Quite the quote from Frank Martin about Woodlands Levesque. He only got 2 minutes, and just I don't know where we're at with him either.
There was a comment post game. I think some people, to me, it's just what Frank Martin is sometimes. But the bottom line is he comes out and just basically says he was asked about Levesque and if there was an injury to him and why he did not play more during the game. And basically, Frank Martin's response was, yes. Me watching him play hurt my eyesight. I guess you could call that the injury. Levesque played the first 2 minutes of the game and did not get back on the floor. He had 1 personal foul. Didn't grab a rebound, didn't take a shot, didn't do anything. Just nothing. 1 foul. He committed 1 foul in the first 2 minutes and was immediately pulled from the game, did not play anymore. And again, post game, Frank was asked if there was an injury to Wildens, and that's why he did not play, to which Frank responded, yes, he hurt my eyesight. I guess you could call that the injury. It was strange. I don't know. I don't know if he's had bad weeks of practice. I don't know if there was just something there that he did initially. AJ Wilson also only played 2 minutes as South Carolina went with more of their guard-oriented live offense that features Couisnard, Reese, and Stevenson with a lot of Devin Carter mixed in. Josh Gray, actually, I thought Patrick was pretty stellar. 7 points, 6 rebounds, got 19 minutes, and you needed him with the height that was brought to the game by Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, Walker Kessler's just such a load that you do need someone there, and Jabari Smith also being almost 7 feet tall. I've been down on the front court pretty much all year for South Carolina, so I think Wildens Levesque is just a guy. Like, he doesn't do anything special. He's just a big body that can pull down rebounds every once in a while, can get you easy buckets every once in a while, can block a couple shots here and there.
8 rebounds. He gives you a lot. You just wish, man, he'd connect on. It seems like Patrick, the big shots from Stevenson. He hit the one. I'm trying to think against who. I think it was against Mississippi that he kind of dribbled to his right and got off balance and was able to knock it down. But it seems like he more often than not misses kind of the big hope that is needed, or the big shot that is needed.
Yeah, it's just, and he's always close. It's just they always look good coming out of his hand. It's just some of them go long or go short. It's just uh, it's left a lot to be desired. And honestly, he does more to affect the basketball game than I expected that he would coming in. Just everything that I heard about him, I thought he was just kind of gonna play 3-point line to 3-point line and shoot. But he really is. He's a good rebounder. He is very involved in every aspect of the game. He defends hard, so I can't really say that. I mean, he's one of the most important players on the team, but just you expected him to be like 40% from three and just knocking down big shot after big shot, and that just has not been the case, save for like what 2 or 3 games this year.
Yeah, I mean, he makes shots. Again, he takes several, and again, you go back to Saturday's stat line and what he did there. He 5 of 12 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3-point range. But again, he adds a lot to the team. There, 8 rebounds on Saturday. He's a very aggressive player. You can tell he's been a leader. Devin Carter came off the bench, but really struggled on Saturday against the length of Auburn. 20 minutes played, 0 of 5 from the field. He grabbed 4 rebounds, but did not score. And so when Carter is not going to be able to come off the bench and give you points, that makes it extremely difficult. As a matter of fact, to go back and look at it, South Carolina gets almost non-existent bench production on Saturday, just 9 points in that game, and it's simply not going to do it against a really good Auburn team that Patrick is led by the likely number 1 pick in the NBA draft, Jabari Smith, who had 21 points and 6 rebounds. Give credit to Keyshawn Bryant, though. Bryant really, really harassed him on Saturday. It wasn't like Smith was exactly efficient. 5 of 12 from the field. He hit 3 3-pointers and had 8 free throws. But I thought Bryant did a pretty good job trying to keep him in check. Jabari Smith's just a really good player.
He's incredible. I think he should be the number 1 pick. I mean, I don't know who else is in the running at this point. Chet Holmgren, I just haven't seen enough of. Gonzaga plays too late, and to me, he's just too stickish. Jabari Smith, his handle, his shot, everything about him, he is just so good. I would take him number 1 in a heartbeat. But yeah, I mean, you do what you can against a guy like that. He's going to be able to elevate and get his shot off pretty much whenever he wants to. He can bring the ball up. There's really nothing he can't do. So, I mean, South Carolina put up a fight, but I mean, you mentioned Devin Carter. If you're getting 20 minutes, his aggressiveness, you need to at least get trips to the free throw line, and that didn't happen. He took 0 free throw attempts. If you're South Carolina in a game like that, you need to be taking 25 plus free throw attempts. You need to force the issue, but Auburn's just too good. I mean, Walker Kessler only had 2 blocks, but he affects every single shot that is taken inside the paint, and it's just a problem. That's why Auburn is a national championship contender, and South Carolina is going to need to have probably 2 upsets at least to make the NCAA tournament. Just is what it is.
803-404-6100. When we come back, we'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines and continue rolling along. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Sorry, my mic was muted. I was asking Patrick if he watched any of the if you saw any of the soccer tournament this weekend, whatever the big one was. I forget the big event over in Europe.
Oh no, I didn't watch any of that. We did watch the last 20 or so minutes of the Charlotte FC game.
Yes, yeah, I didn't get to see that either, but I heard that was an incredible environment. I guess they lost 1-0, but they said it was really good.
It was an awesome environment. I was very impressed. Well, it'll be interesting to see, is that replicable, or was it just the game one excitement? I had a ton of friends there. Saw videos of people walking into the stadium. It looked absolutely electric. Cool video of whoever was singing the national anthem, their microphone cut out and the whole crowd finished the national anthem for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. That was really cool. And it was loud. I was really impressed. But the LA Galaxy dominated that game, and the goal was absurd. If anyone saw the goal that won that game. But if they keep that up,
I mean, like I said, I haven't.
You could probably see it on Twitter pretty quick. It was a ridiculous shot. But I don't know. I don't know if people are just excited for game one. I don't know how many people will be at game two. You would think that it would be a lot, but there's no way they'll put 75,000 in a stadium again.
You would assume. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the tickets go for. The Derby. Maybe that was it. The Man City, Man United.
Oh, yeah.
Man Derby.
The Manchester Derby.
Okay, Derby.
That's how the British people say it. We say Derby. That's just
okay.
Anytime two teams from the same city play, it's a derby. The London Derby would be, I guess, Arsenal and Chelsea. Looks like Man City whooped them, and Ronaldo didn't play.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that.
The MLS game was painful to watch for times. The faking of injuries was just annoying the crap out of me.
Again, I didn't think to go back last night and look at all the conference tournaments to see how many one seeds or whomever lost. And like, I know Winthrop lost to Longwood.
$7:38 on a Monday morning, March the 7th. Hope you're up and doing well, getting out to school. You can weigh in anything you've heard this morning, 803-404-6100. We've been talking a little bit about South Carolina basketball here in the last few minutes. Obviously, the women's team dropping the SEC championship game yesterday to Kentucky, 64-62. The men's team losing over the weekend to Auburn as well, 82-71. They will open SEC tournament play on Thursday evening, 6 p.m. start time. They will play Mississippi State, and the winner of that game will then go on to a 6 p.m. game Friday against Tennessee. So the bracket there on that side, Patrick, not the best bracket that you could end up in. The other team on that side of the bracket that is already seeded is Kentucky. That's who they would play. I guess Kentucky will get the winner of game 6, which will be Alabama and either Vanderbilt or Georgia. So that's the side of the bracket the Gamecocks end up on. You'd probably have to go through Tennessee and Kentucky. You know, Patrick, if you beat Tennessee and Kentucky, hypothetically, I wouldn't put money on it. I don't know if South Carolina can knock off Mississippi State on Thursday night, let alone a Tennessee team they've been beaten by 20 and 24 this season. But you would think if you do that, that would put you maybe in position to get to the NCAA tournament. But I think that's probably what it's going to take. Are you in agreement with that? Is probably a run to the championship game that would then have wins over Tennessee and Kentucky, or is that fair?
Well, I would. Yeah, I mean that would definitely do it. You don't think Mississippi State and Tennessee would be enough just by themselves?
No.
Okay.
No,
well, yeah, it's quite the long shot then.
803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Ray has waited patiently. Ray, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, guys. I tell you, tough weekend for us Gamecocks, wasn't it? Oh, but anyhow, what I was calling about on the men's basketball side, I think they will have to win one game to probably get into the NIT and the tournament, in the SEC tournament. And I was really calling about Keyshawn Bryant. He has got so much raw talent. I mean, he can jump out of the gym. He reminds me of a player we had about 20 years ago named Herbert Lee Davis. Just a guy that can jump and do everything, but the fundamentals just aren't there, guys. And a lot of these guys are this raw. I don't know what it is. I know Frank. I know they coach this kid relentlessly to do this and do that, but every time Keyshawn shoots a three-pointer, I just cringe. I'm like, dude, take that ball and drive to the hole. You're too talented to do that. You'll probably at least get to the free throw line. I think this has been a missed opportunity for Keyshawn this year, and I don't even see him at the next level because he's 6'5", so he's going to have to be a number 2, even in the G League. And he dribbles too high. He makes one-hand passes. He's just, the fundamentals just aren't there. And I hate to be so critical on Monday morning, but I just want to get your guys' take. But thanks.
Appreciate the phone call, Ray. I mean, I'm with you. He doesn't handle the ball well enough to play the wing. And Patrick, that's part of it. I'm with Ray there. Yeah, you'd like to see Keyshawn attack the basket more. But a lot of times stopping, he has a tendency to just turn the ball over in situations. And again, one of those turnovers led to kind of a 7-0 run there for Auburn on Saturday afternoon after the Gamecocks cut it to 24-22.
Yeah, we've mentioned that. He's not an NBA guy. I don't even think he's going to be a G League guy. I mean, I haven't heard that he is going to go to Europe, but I've heard you and other people say that that's the likely plan. So is he good enough to play there? I would assume so. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete. He can play defense. He can bring the house down in transition. I mean, he can absolutely throw it down. Can shoot every once in a while, but yeah, it's just too inconsistent. And I think Day put it well, or was it Bunn or somebody said that he basically is the same player that he was as a freshman. And I would agree with that. It's just his physical skills are so phenomenal that you've just been waiting year after year for, hey, this is going to be the year. It's almost like Ben Simmons. I mean, he's not 7 foot and he's not a point guard, but you say this is the year that he finally gets his shot. And once he does that, he's going to be unstoppable. We've been saying the same thing. Keyshawn Bryant, just stay diligent in the gym. One day he's going to become a good shooter and he'll be able to handle the ball well. And that's going to be the day that he takes over this conference and college basketball. But it never happened. And it's not easy to do, especially when you played basketball your whole life, to just make big time strides when you're 20 and 21 years old. But that's just the player he is. He's really athletic. He can defend multiple positions, but just as a ball handler and a shooter, it's just not there and it's not going to get there.
803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning, talking a lot about the basketball. Patrick, some other interesting news that we talked about last Wednesday coming out. We discussed the Bryson DeChambeau situation along with Phil Mickelson with Kyle Thompson. And Kyle, who will be back on with us this week, had mentioned, he wasn't real sure what was going on with DeChambeau and potentially there he's on a double secret probation and maybe not being allowed to participate right now on the PGA Tour. And he cited the fact that Bryson DeChambeau participated in a pro-am last Monday, a week ago today, and then pulled out of the Bay Hill the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. It was a tournament that he was expected to defend, and all of a sudden now you get another one. Bryson DeChambeau, according to reports from golf.com, is pulling out of the 2022 Players Championship and will not participate in that, citing injuries. Are we being too much conspiracy theorist here, or do you think there's something to what Kyle Thompson said where DeChambeau is right now suspended from the tour quietly and they're allowing him to maintain his image by pulling out the tour champion, the Players Championship this coming weekend, defending champion Justin Thomas there for one of the better events on tour?
I don't know. Did anybody see videos of him playing in that pro-am last week? Did he look normal? Did he look healthy? I don't know. I guess assume so. I don't think it's necessarily too conspiratorial. I mean, this is a monster tournament. There's a lot of money. I don't know what the purse is, but everybody wants to play in this one. So I don't think you're being too conspiratorial. I'm all about the conspiracy anyway, and not a Bryson guy. I don't think anybody's really going to defend him. So yeah, I'm all about it. Double secret probation. We'll see how long it lasts. They'll let him free for the Masters.
DeChambeau said last week, I just feel like it's too short of time for me to get back to 100% and playing at 100% capacity. He said, right now I'm like 90%, and I just don't want to go out there and hurt myself even more and not be 100% ready for the rest of the season. This was last week he had said that. He said he would try to play the Players' Championship, which, of course, is increasing to a $20 million purse this year. But he confirmed, or the PGA Tour confirmed, his withdrawal last night. Hayden Buckley will take DeChambeau's spot. He hasn't played in a month, and he's made just 3 starts in 2022. The last one was at the Saudi International out in Saudi Arabia back in February, and he withdrew after the first round in that due to injuries, and he hasn't been back since. So the fact that he participated there, now there were other golfers that have participated. I believe Dustin Johnson was out there as well, and so, I don't think it was just for participation purposes, and maybe he really is injured. But the bottom line on that is DeChambeau's always been a polarizing figure, and this seems like a situation now where a lot of people can guess and second guess what may or may not be going on.
Is everyone talking about that? I just typed his name into Twitter, and I'm reading some of the tweets about him withdrawing and seeing if that's the popular narrative that he's on secret probation. But I'm not seeing as much of it as I expected.
No, I think most people, because of the way he pulled out, left the Saudi International. I think that has caused people to think that yes, basically that he is actually injured and not just in some kind of like super secret timeout per the PJ. I think that's more likely. All it was that Kyle kind of mentioned, but I thought was interesting is that the PGA Tour does a good job of kind of putting players on suspension, but protecting their image, protecting the image of the tour, and allowing guys to kind of work through this on their own while also kind of working with them. And, he was just kind of saying, look, it wouldn't be a complete surprise, but he has no knowledge of the situation. Can't say with 100% certainty that there is something going on. It's just, you look at what's going on, you go, very interesting.
Well, it's interesting even if he is hurt too, isn't it? Just because the way he swings the golf club, and people have been talking about how sustainable that is. So if he's already getting injured, what is it? His late 20s, I guess. Is that where he is, or is he mid? I don't even know how old he is.
Right. That's what we asked. That's what we asked Thompson last week. How, and again, he'll be back this week. That's what we asked him is when you swing the way he does, and then that is part of why I think a lot of people would understand him sitting out. When you swing in the manner that he does, you do need to be very, very careful with coming back, even if you're not 100%. So certainly, yeah, Kyle Thompson saying last week, the way he swings does not, the body cannot uphold that for several years, putting that kind of torque and that kind of pressure on your wrist and your arms and your back.
And he was trying to kind of change the sport too. So if this is just like the beginning of the end for him, that would be interesting.
Be interesting to see if he comes back in the next few weeks. 803-404-6100. We'll get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines when we return. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
John Shire. John Shire will be the next coach.
Yeah, John Shire is RL. Sorry, John Shire. John Shire. Yeah, he's already got a heck of a recruiting class coming in. Yeah, York, Twitter is I'll be honest. If I didn't have this job, I can't say how much I would be on social media. I don't know how much I could be on social. I don't know. Yeah, Twitter is just
It
a
is
wild
funny
place. So, yeah, it is. I don't take anything too personally or get too fired up about it.
Did you see the Desmond Howard thing that he was getting roasted for?
No, what do you do?
I think it was either Chris Fowler or Reese Davis posted a picture of a bridge that was lit up in blue and yellow for Ukraine. And Desmond Howard thought it was a Michigan thing and responded to it saying, "Go blue."
Oh, boy.
He's been getting
Oopsie.
dragged for it.
Oopsie. Oh, well, can't win them all.
That's harmless.
Larry, I agree. I think those other guys came out pretty quickly. Dustin Johnson and I don't think McElroy went over there. I can't remember who was all in that Saudi tournament.
We're back. We got under a minute.
Okay, good deal.
Yes.
Patrick, you want to cut this promo real quick and just knock this out?
Sure.
Yeah, we just go that way. Jen's already got it and just can send it in.
How are you going to hear it?
I'll just toss it. I'll talk for a second. Then I'll just toss it to you and whatever you want to add in. Ready? Jen, ready? Ready? All right, I'm going to turn this down real quick. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Tomorrow morning, the Tuesday episode of the early game, it is officially the start of the NCAA March Madness. We'll start getting into conference tournaments. The NFL Draft Combine concluded last weekend, and Patrick continues to break down his big board. We got to get the whiteboard in studio somehow, Patrick. All coming up tomorrow on the early game. Did you hear Patrick? Wait, we're ready again? We're ready now?
It's all good.
Is it good?
Got everything
Sweet.
recorded.
Okay, we're good. All right, that's all we need for it. Yeah, that's perfect.
I didn't see the Fire Coach K tweets. That is funny. I love that.
Well, let's see here. I'll move that over there. I'm blinding myself.
I think this actually will be the morning where I get home and make the liver pudding.
All right. Why is that? You're just lacking food, or?
Yeah, and I'm really hungry. Normally I'd just go to bed. I had breakfast at 1 o'clock. Sure is, RL. Still good. So the date says. I don't think that stuff goes bad. I checked the date. It's good for 2 more weeks.
It's got 2 more weeks? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I need to get a cleaner. Clean this screen. Computer is dirty.
All right, we're back.
All right. York, that is very good. That's a good one.
Yeah. Madison Square Garden. What lost it for you? Was it Syracuse leaving? Well, it was it was both of those. The Big East one, it is a good one. The Big East tournament used to be awesome, and I think the 30 for 30 Requiem for the Big East does a good job. I think it documents that final year of Syracuse being in that tournament. I think it was 2013 when Syracuse and Pittsburgh joined the ACC, and shortly after that, Maryland left the ACC or maybe this exact same year, left the ACC for the Big Ten. So all the tournaments just feel a little bit different now. Pittsburgh and Syracuse don't feel like ACC teams now, but we're going on a decade next year, so it's just kind of an accepted thing. Louisville doesn't feel like an ACC team at all in any sense of the word. West Virginia doesn't feel like a Big 12 team whatsoever. They don't fit in geographically or culturally or really anything. So it just is what it is. That I don't think any of them hit as hard as they used to. Maybe the SEC tournament's the best one because that conference has changed the least, but we're only a couple years away from Texas and Oklahoma being involved in the SEC tournament as well. So I don't know. I get into conference tournaments because of the madness, but the history and tradition of all those tournaments, I don't really feel as much of that anywhere anymore. Mostly. Well, Well, the thing, I mean, yes and no, because obviously they're talented enough to beat everyone in the country, and they've already beat almost all of the best teams in the country. They've already beaten Kentucky too. So if that's what they need, I am on board in the sense that this is not the championship that they wanted. They want the national championship. If they won the SEC tournament but lost the national championship, no one would care anyway. But at the same time, agree with you in the sense that they've only lost one game this year. That Missouri game seemed to refocus them enough to win every other game for the rest of the season. So the fact that every game the entire year but one, you've been focused enough to win, and then you get to the first championship possibility of the season and you blow a lead. I mean, they had a big lead late in that game and just gave it away. So that was extremely uncharacteristic. I would call it relatively fluky. The three-pointer was a little bit fluky. It was what it was, but if that's what they need to I don't know. These girls have played in enough big games. They've all played in Final Fours now, and they've all played in top 10 matchups after top 10 matchups. So I don't think they needed to refocus, but if this is enough to let them say, hey, no lead is safe. You just have to keep your foot on the neck at all times and don't ever let up at any given point, then it is what it is. So I'm on board with the fact that it's not a huge deal that they lost the SEC championship. It is a bummer because you just want to continue winning championships and don't let anyone get the sense that you're not the top dog in the SEC. But this is not what they really wanted. This was just one of the many championships that they wanted.
That they can more than hold their own and dominate the best of the best in women's college basketball. So they'll be ready to go here in 2 weeks for the NCAA tournament. Baseball over the weekend, South Carolina swept by Clemson. D1 baseball has released their updated top 25. Clemson jumps into the rankings at number 19. So
and we
the Tigers
just missed
able
it.
to take it. We just missed it.
Yeah. We just missed getting into the top 25.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, South Carolina, sadly, just on the
much.
outside looking in from the best way I can tell here. Yes, that's you get swept and then you move up drastically. No, it's Clemson taking advantage of the South Carolina series to move into the top 20. They're at number 19. Tennessee now up to number 10. So again, the next 3 weeks feature number 1, number 10, and number 4 for South Carolina. And Patrick, Jen, that's kind of the problem here. There's no downtime for the Gamecocks. There's no time to lick your wounds and see what can happen. Basically, the Gamecocks are going to go right back into they're going to play 3 teams that are much, much, much better than Clemson over the next 3 weeks, and you don't really have time to figure out.
3 muches?
3 muches. Much.
I don't think we
Did
know
I add
that
a fourth?
yet.
I'm going with 3 teams: Texas, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. The level and competition takes another big step up from the Tigers this past weekend, and that is, I think, what maybe terrifies people. Hope York on the Buford Lending live stream, Patrick, they're talking about how disappointed they were over the weekend, and yeah, I think that's something there when you look at the competition coming up that maybe concerns you. I don't know if it concerns you more than the level of play you just saw.
It all goes hand in hand. I mean, the fact that you just couldn't score against Clemson and gave up 10 runs in an important game on Saturday and blew an incredible start on Friday night from your ace. And now you've got number 1 on the radar. So no, it's just all one thing. And if you play like that, you're just going to get completely dismantled this weekend at home in front of your fans. And it should be a good environment. I hope, just as in the live stream, rain chances on Friday and Saturday. We'll see how that affects the schedule, but either way, people are going to be excited, should be excited to come see the number 1 team in the country and team that you don't see very often. Maybe it'll become more frequent when they join the conference, but it's the number one team in the country, and that at your home ballpark doesn't happen too often. But the level of enthusiasm after that performance over the weekend against your rival, I think has decreased the excitement for this weekend.
You know what? That's a great point, Patrick, about that, because Founders Park was a really good atmosphere on Friday night. There was obviously Will Sanders was put forth a great effort, holding Clemson to just one run, striking out 14, walking 5 through 7 innings, and then the bullpen not able to close the game out. How much the number one team in the country is coming into town. This is a series that, look, even when Ray Tanner was coaching, there was a lot of people who would complain about South Carolina's non-conference schedule because they would play Clemson and then they would play really nobody else, and they would be so forth and so on. And people would say, man, let's go play a big-time series. Let's get, a 3-game series against, say, at Georgia Tech, who was really good back then, or at Texas or so forth. Name a national opponent, and people would want to get really excited about that. And with all that being said, they never really scheduled it. Well, now you get one of those series. I don't. Texas coming to town should be a lot of fun, but was all the air sucked out of the baseball program this weekend as people lose? Not our good buddy Jan. I'm assuming he'll still be out there tailgating, but some of the true diehards, did this weekend really suck a lot of the air out of the baseball program?
I don't think just yet. I think for some people it probably did, and they don't want to take valuable time out of their day and drive and spend the whole day to watch a blowout. And if that's the case, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but I do think number one still is a big deal. I think Friday night, if everything goes according to plan weather-wise and Will Sanders is out there, you'll want to see that game. I think the excitement level will still be there for that game because you feel like he can beat anyone in the country right now if he pitches like he did last Friday. If you lose that game, I don't know, maybe things change on Saturday, and if you lose 2, then Sunday certainly people will probably not be enthusiastic for. But I don't think the excitement level is gone for that series. Now, if you get swept, you go to Knoxville next weekend and are not competitive against Tennessee, then maybe you come back against Vanderbilt and you get another top 10, top 5 opponent, and all of a sudden the ballpark's 50% full. Maybe that will be the case. I don't think it's to the point where people will not want to see the number one team in the country, but it's close enough that you play really poorly in the next 2 weekends. Then when Vanderbilt comes back in the final weekend of March, then people will not show up.
803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Kelvin is up first this morning, wants to talk about men's basketball. How you doing, Kelvin? What's on your mind?
Morning. Yeah, my observations for our men's basketball team. 2 players, Stevenson and Levesque, they got to – Levesque, his confidence is shot. He just got to pull it out at full point of contact and get it together, man. I mean, it's simple as that. He hadn't given us nothing for about 2 months now. And Stevenson, he has this tendency where he likes to dribble too deep in the paint, and he's falling down for some reason all the time. I'm not sure what's going on with that. And some of these passes these guys are making, one-handed, trying to pin it through defenders. They got to get back to fundamentals. And then last and most importantly, if we hit shots and apply that 1-2-2 defense or 2-2-1 defense that we normally play, we can stay with a lot of these teams, man. We take enough shots to stay in games. We're just not making them. If we make the shots, we can put that defense in, and that can slow teams up and get it, muck the game up a little bit. But we just got to make some shots and play better defense, play smarter. I'm not going to throw Frank under the bus. I mean, he can only coach so much. I mean, the players got to do their part too. But hey guys, thanks for taking my call, and you guys do a great job. Pat, you're a boss, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelvin.
Appreciate the phone call, Kelvin. Let's stay on the Love Chevy phone lines. Jen, back out we go. Barry is on the phone. How you doing, Barry? What's on your mind this morning?
Wonderful. Good morning, gentlemen. I want to talk just a minute about the girls' basketball game yesterday. Didn't we have like 11.7 seconds to go, and Kentucky had the ball working for that last shot? Didn't Carolina have 2 or 3 fouls to give?
Yes.
Why in the world would they not foul them? Let them get the ball in, take a couple of seconds off, and foul.
I have
and make
no
them
idea.
throw it in again.
Dawn Staley actually made a comment about that too, I think, and said that the plan was to use all 3 fouls. I have no idea what happened there. I mean, it's a good point. They should have done it. And I don't know, but maybe to the point of they maybe not using this as motivation, or they've lost the game and now this will rally them, but maybe at least seeing a big time mistake made in a high leverage situation at the end of the game, maybe that is the learning point. I mean, that's all you can really take away from it.
Yeah. And one other little thing about why don't they call the defense instead of man to man, woman to woman?
Thank you for the
Are
phone
you
call,
there?
man. Yeah,
Huh?
no, we got it. Yeah, okay. Patrick and I will make a point from now on to say that. Is that good?
It does not, from a female perspective, it does not offend me to say man to man. It's just,
we're all mankind.
Exactly. It's person to person.
Human to human
not a
defense.
Human, not it's not human. It's not human and human.
Yeah.
Human to human.
I appreciate
defense
him in trying to be supportive, but I don't think it's a big deal.
Person to person defense employed from now on. Please get the message across to Frank and Dawn at any press conference we're at. We would like to hear human to human or person to person. 803-404-6100. We roll along. The NFL Combine this past weekend, there were some impressive prospects out there. We'll see in Patrick's mind who upgraded their stock the most when we come back. You're listening to a human to human interaction here on the 107.5 The Game early game, March the 7th.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler of the Extra Point here. Coming up on Monday's Extra Point, plenty of reaction to a full weekend of Gamecock action. Obviously, the Carolina-Clemson baseball series, the men's basketball regular season finale, and of course, the SEC women's basketball tournament. All the reaction, highlights, and analysis coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
If you want good human to human interaction when it comes to purchasing your next vehicle, no better place than Love Chevrolet. The experience, the customer service, the quality customer service reps, the salespeople out there at Love Chevrolet provide second to none. First thing that's important is having experience in that industry. You want somebody who's been around, who can tell you all the nuances of a Tahoe, of maybe whatever it is you're looking for, a Suburban, a Silverado, why these cars, trucks, SUVs can help your everyday commute, why they can help you get to your job, why they can help you get the kids to practice, maybe why they can help you take summer vacations. And the experience level at Love Chevrolet is absolutely second to none, with multiple salespeople having over 20 years of experience in the industry. And of course, what else would you come from to expect from Love Chevrolet, who has over 60 years of experience in the Midlands, servicing families just like yours? So if you're looking for a new Chevrolet vehicle or a certified pre-owned one, Love Chevrolet is your one-stop shop. The $1,000 low price guarantee, meaning you can find all the cars, trucks that you want out there, take their deal back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they'll top it, or else they'll write you a check for $1,000. They also have the largest selection of vehicles anywhere in the Midlands. And even right now, in this time of high demand and low supply, Love Chevrolet still taking care of people with their incredible selection of Chevrolets. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Yep. Old Larry.
Barry,
whatever.
Yeah, you there. You there?
Yeah, I didn't know really where to go with that. I thought he was gonna laugh first.
I don't know if he might have been serious.
I was like, I think he's being serious about this.
The awkwardness is always when we say, like, yeah, Barry, you're up. And then they try to make a joke or a comment at the beginning of the call and expect us to respond, but we're just waiting for them to make their point and do their call. There's a lot of awkward silences.
Yeah. Oh, Mark.
It's that kind of morning. He did seem for sure serious. That was maybe the surprise.
I thought maybe he was trying to identify as a funny guy.
I don't. After waiting a second, I didn't get the impression that was his goal. Yeah, Eric. Anytime you have to ask "you there" to us, that's usually a sign that the joke didn't go well.
I should have been quick on the hotkey with the crickets.
We do blame you for not being quicker. Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right,
used to
so
be good at this, but
I
I've
was
been
in a
brought down.
little I was in like a little NASCAR pick'em contest this weekend, Jen. It was $10, and if I understand it correctly, let's go back here. All right, if I understand correctly, I had the number 17 pole position.
Number 17.
So pole position, so they draw the numbers out. He drew the numbers on Thursday, and then I guess I still haven't figured out how this thing
We're not
works.
going to.
Oh, we're not back.
I'm kind of confused.
Yeah. I think that's how it works. I think they draw all the pole positions out.
What do you mean pole? There's only one pole position.
Oh, okay, then I thought they just did like, if you're starting like in 10th place or all the.
Oh, then your starting position.
Yeah, I'm sorry, starting position.
Okay, yeah. It's the only one person's on the pole.
But I see like a
pole position, man, Bill.
Like how many starting positions were there?
What does that come from, though? What's the pole?
I think there were 37 in this race.
Qualifying times.
No, I know.
Huh?
But when you say sitting on the pole, means you're starting in first place. But what is the actual pole that they're referring to?
Pole is
Isn't
the
it
start
the
position.
No, the pole position is the first position.
Right. It's from you get to start from the fastest spot, the inside spot. I think it originated from like horse racing or something.
Where there was a physical pole that was set down at the start. That the word pole, I don't know what it means.
Yeah, I guess next to the starting pole.
If I understand this correctly, I had 17, which was Bubba Wallace. He started 17th.
Okay.
Alex Bowman started 13th, if I understand this, and I don't know who won. I can see his name, but I don't know who that is.
Alex Bowman.
Right? No. I'm saying on the sheet here. So I've got a sheet, and it tells me everybody's starting position.
Okay.
So is there 20 max? $26? Was 26 that? No, I see a 37.
There were 37 in the race.
I mean,
I don't know how many.
Yeah, there wasn't 37 people that signed up. I don't know. I'll find out later. I would say I didn't win. I haven't gotten a text message.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be curious what that means.
Yeah, but I think.
See, look at me being right, RL. Larry. Thank you, guys.
week when I'm sitting here at 8:27 on a Monday morning, and I'm already thinking ahead to Wednesday. What we are talking about today has been South Carolina baseball, swept by the Clemson Tigers this weekend. Not a good start for South Carolina there. They put themselves in position. Will Sanders putting themselves in position on Friday night, a 2-1 lead going into the final 2 innings. He had pitched a strong 7 innings, striking out 14, walking 11, but not able to get the job done. The bullpen lets it slip away. Wesley Sweat and John Gilreath giving up runs in the 8th and the 9th, and the Tigers take the Friday night game. Saturday, South Carolina came out and scored a run to start the game. Looked like they were going to get some momentum, but a 4-run fourth turned the tides in that game, and Clemson would go on to win 10-2. And then yesterday, Clemson gets out to a 3-0 lead. The Gamecocks score runs in the 5th and the 6th to cut it to 3-2, but the Tigers put the game away in the bottom half of the 8th with a solo shot and another RBI to win 5-2. First time South Carolina's been swept in the series since 1996, and that's not a good start, especially with the number 1 team in the country coming to town this weekend. We talked a little bit of golf this morning. Something you might want to do is get out and play a little golf here in the next couple weeks. But if you've been suffering from joint pain, it's time to stop and listen. You can get real, lasting relief now with natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics. I'm telling you what, this is something that is absolutely guaranteed to get you back to living the life you want to lead. Whether you want to get out and play a little golf, whether you want to get out and dunk on your son in the front yard in a game of one-on-one basketball, maybe you want to throw the football around, whatever it is, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative solutions that can restore and repair damaged tissue with no surgery, no drugs, and most importantly, no downtime. This is the type of relief you've been hoping for. Aching hips, knees, shoulders, lower back. The unique protocols at QC Kinetics have been created by physicians with years of study in regenerative restorative medicine. Give them a call today for a free consultation, 803-281-6860. Again, that is a free consultation you can get. 803-281-6860 is how you can get in touch with QC Kinetics. It is the new, better, smarter, non-surgical way to deal with joint pain. Don't wait any longer. Give them a call today for a free consultation. 803-281-6860. Patrick, NFL Combine this past weekend, wrapping up. Now we move on to pro days around the country at different colleges. But give us 3 or 4 prospects. We talked a little bit about Jordan Davis in the 7 o'clock hour that was able to really showcase his athleticism for a big guy. Runs a 4.75 40, and I think they said may have had a record broad jump. A couple other guys you think that really impressed over the weekend now that could slide up a round or two, or maybe that let people down and slides down a round or two?
So yeah, I mean, coming out of it, if there's one name that people are going to mention, it's going to be Jordan Davis. I mean, it was just off the charts what he did athletically, speed wise. I mean, he was faster than Kingsley Enagbare, and he's probably got about 80 pounds. I think Enagbare was somewhere in the 260s. So 70 to 80 pounds heavier and ran faster. A faller would probably be Kingsley Enagbare. He's not going to be a first rounder. Probably second round, maybe late second round at this point. There's a lot of pass rushers that did really well. Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, another former Georgia Bulldog, had a good combine, so he'll probably be ahead of Enagbare and a couple other guys. I don't know that there was any massive movement. I would say one of the biggest losers has to be Treylon Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas, who ran a 4.5 40, which is just really not good for someone who's supposed to be a size, speed type of dude. He was about 220 pounds, so you're not expecting 4.3, 4.4 stuff from him, but still you wanted more from him. Baylor was ridiculous. They've got so much speed that came to the draft this year. They had the fastest corner and receiver. Kalon Barnes, the corner from Baylor, ran a 4.23 40, which is, I want to say, the 3rd or 4th fastest of all time. I think it was 4.21 is the record by John Ross, and then 4.22 was right behind that. So he was 4.23, which is absurd. Tariq Woolen from Texas San Antonio is 6'4" and ran a 4.26 40, which is absolutely outrageous at that size. And then the fastest wide receiver was Tyquan Thornton from Baylor. So Baylor had two of the three fastest, and the fastest wide receiver and corner. So props to Baylor. And the guys aren't like outstanding football players, but they're insane athletes. The other big winners would be the wide receivers from Ohio State. They are the first pair of receivers to both run under 4.4 since the last pair of Ohio State receivers, Paris Campbell and Terry McLaurin. But yeah, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave both were phenomenal. The pass rushers, the top two guys, Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson, both had really good combines as well. So the debate for who's going to be the top pass rusher is going to be ongoing, and everyone's probably going to have their own opinions. But if you come out of this saying anything, it's just going to be what Georgia is putting out right now is legitimately absurd. I mean, that defense is just insane. Devontae Wyatt was a freak athlete. He's the best D tackle in this class now, probably. Him and Jordan Davis. It depends what kind of style you want. If you want a full-on nose guard that's just going to swallow people up, you want Jordan Davis. If you want somebody that's going to get after the passer, you're going to want Devontae Wyatt. But he was phenomenal. And Jalen Carter, who's still in college, is going to be a junior this year. He'll be the best. He's the best of the bunch. So between that and then the three linebackers, Quay Walker, Channing Tindall, and Nakobe Dean were all phenomenal at the combine. Lewis Seen, their safety, ran a 4.38, so he's a freak too. It's just actually ridiculous, the kind of athletes that Georgia's putting out in the NFL. So when we watched the national championship game and came in the next day saying that looked a different level of fast, we weren't just imagining it. Like, Georgia and Alabama are legitimately putting in different types of dudes than everyone else in college football right now.
Anybody that you've got, the Commanders have the number 11 pick in the draft coming up. We've talked about the Panthers. Anybody that you saw this weekend to maybe change your opinion, both for your Commanders and, of course, for the local Panthers here, that you say, all right, maybe that becomes a better pick for that organization at this point?
If you're thinking about quarterbacks, I don't think this should have changed anything for you unless you're fully locked into Malik Willis and Malik Willis continues to perform well. Then I can be okay with that. But at 11 or at 6, saying Desmond Ritter's 4.5 40 changes everything for me, I think that would be a massive reach. Offensive line is, I think, where the Panthers fans, most of them, want to go. And this was a good performance at the combine for all of the top tackles. It really, I think most people, there's kind of a group of three. Evan Neal obviously just showed up and measured himself and did interviews and blew people away just by looking like he's a skinny wide receiver tight end, but in reality, he's 6'7", 337 pounds, an absolute freak of nature. Ike Ekwonu from NC State had himself a good combine as well. He ran under 5 seconds in the 40 at 310 pounds and, was just a good athlete, over 10 feet vertical jump, almost 11, 7'8" 3-cone, just a really good athlete overall. And he's so powerful. I wish he would have benched, but just an absolute road grader of the run game. And Charles Cross for Mississippi State, who's not a high-end crazy athlete, but he is just a great pass blocker and just nobody ever gets by him. So if that's what you want. And then Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa is just a nasty dude, just finishes every block, buries people into the ground. He's going to probably get a lot of penalties, but whoever has him on their team is probably going to like him a lot. I don't think if you're in the top 10 to 15, this weekend changed too much for you, unless you said Treylon Burks is my number one receiver. You might be reconsidering that now. If you said, I don't want Jordan Davis in the top half of the first round because he doesn't do enough, maybe his athleticism changes things for you. Outside of that, most of the movement is going to be happening in the maybe like 30 to 60 range, 30 to 100 range, the top 100 guys. But outside like the blue chippers, no blue chippers really had a bad combine. Perhaps Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah, he ran a 4.7 40, which was really, really surprising to see because he looks like he can go sideline to sideline and is a physical freak. And same with Kyle Hamilton. He ran a 4.6, which was lower than most people expected, but that's not going to make him anyone else's safety too at this point. He's by far the best safety of the class. So there shouldn't be too much movement from the combine, but there were some really jaw-dropping athletic testing this year. Fastest group of wide receivers ever.
One piece of interesting news, according to Ian Rappaport on Friday, NFL Network Insider, stated that your Commanders offered multiple first-round picks to the Seattle Seahawks for one Russell Wilson. It appears that the Seahawks have turned that deal down. Doesn't say what exactly, it just says multiple first-round picks. Ron Rivera was speaking in Indianapolis last Tuesday and said we are trying to truly cover every base. Every time you hear something, you're checking into it, and so we've got to do our work. We've got to do our due diligence. Patrick, were you thoughts on this? It sounds like Seattle, if this was true about multiple first-round picks, and last week Pete Carroll insisted the team had zero intention of trading Russell Wilson. Are we assuming now that Wilson is not on the market, that the Seahawks are going to just continue to roll with him in that contract?
Probably, because also with a Russell Wilson trade is going to be the biggest dead cap hit in NFL history. I think it's going to be in the $30 to $40 million range. If they trade him, they're going to have to eat that dead cap. So that's a tough pill to swallow. And it means that if the Seahawks do trade Russell Wilson, it's only because they're full on blowing the thing up and rebuilding. And Pete Carroll is definitely not going to be on board to do that. I keep forgetting how old he is, but he's the oldest or second oldest coach in the NFL. If the Seahawks want to continue with him as head coach, he's 70 years old. If they want to continue on with him, they're not going to do it by resetting the franchise and starting from the ground up again. Pete Carroll's not sticking around for that, and they're not going to want him to stick around for that. So if they decide that, hey, Russ is kind of a headache, he complains to the media all the time, he's a drama queen, and he's not doing enough to single-handedly win us championships, we need to just get as many picks as possible and move on. Maybe if Washington said, we'll give you 3 first-round picks or 4 first-round picks, and we'll give you Chase Young or something crazy like that, maybe that makes them reconsider. But ultimately, whatever they do is not going to be for winning right now. It's going to be $40 million your cap is going to be to pay Russell Wilson not to be there. So you're not going to be able to build a winning team with that much dead cap money and the quarterback position not even being accounted for at that point. I don't know that it's completely dead in the water, but it's not surprising to me if Washington offered 11 this year and then the first round pick next year, that the Seahawks wouldn't entertain it.
One other news note from the weekend in the NFL, not involving the NFL Combine, the San Francisco 49ers. This is just a crazy move to me because it feels like being in the broadcast booth. And I guess if you don't have a job, it's kind of irrelevant. You're looking for your next job. But they're hiring Brian Griese, who had been the color analyst for Monday Night Football since 2020. Of course, we know that Monday Night Football is revamping their Monday Night Football team. But Patrick, I just find it entertaining because, man, it feels like coaching. I guess I don't know. I would just rather be a color analyst on Monday Night Football, call one game a week, be able to, I guess, have a little bit more time with your family, as opposed to being a quarterbacks coach for the 49ers. But that's what Brian Griese is going to be doing now, as he is hired by the 49ers.
Yeah, and I mean, he's never coached before. Right. This is his first coaching job. I don't know. I definitely think it's weird, and I'm sure he's got some sort of relationship with the Shanahan family because he was drafted by the Broncos when Mike was there. So I would guess that is where the connection started.
He was on the roster when Kyle Shanahan was a quality control coach for the offensive side of the ball in Tampa. He played quarterback and is familiar with Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan was the offensive quality control coach in 2004 and 2005 when Brian Griese was on that roster. So what does that mean in terms of like knowing a scheme and everything? I have no clue, but there is, I guess, a friendship or familiarity there.
Right, especially when you met him as a quality control coach and the offense was not developed yet. And he hasn't played his last year was 2008, so it's been 14 years since he's been in football. He's been covering it since 2009. I mean, ESPN hired him right out after his playing career, so he's been following the game. But does that mean that he knows how to coach? I mean, he was a good quarterback, but even the position has changed so much in the last 5 years, much less the last 14, 15 years since he was actually in the league. I don't know. I mean, Kyle Shanahan is, I would guess, the pseudo quarterback coach anyway, because he's so on top of everything that goes on in that offense that he's going to be hands-on with Trey Lance no matter what, especially because his legacy is basically going to hinge on Trey Lance's success after trading all those picks to get up to number 3 and take him. It does seem like a weird hire when you go from, Mike McDaniel is your offensive coordinator who was very involved with the quarterback position and was known to be just a genius and has been with Kyle Shanahan ever since he's been a coordinator and and a head coach, going to a guy that's never coached a position before, I think it's weird. But Kyle Shanahan's very smart, knows a lot about football. I assume he has high-level football conversations with Brian Griese, and Brian Griese knows what he's getting himself into. He's leaving a lot of money on the table, and he's been with ESPN for a long time, so you better be confident.
Well, and just a final note on this, it's interesting because we've talked a little bit about the situation in San Francisco as it pertains to the quarterbacks with Garoppolo and Trey Lance and what direction the 49ers are going to go. They don't seem to be getting the offers that I think they were hoping for Garoppolo. And so now you bring in Griese, who I guess will be charged with helping the development of Trey Lance. Like you said, it could be Shanahan, but I mean, you would think Griese is going to have an important part of that.
I would think that there's a less than 10% chance that Jimmy Garoppolo is their starting quarterback. It doesn't make any sense for them financially. They have to move on from him to get under the cap, and especially if they want to be able to make any moves and improve that roster, whatever holes they need, maybe the secondary, they have to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. But the problem is it's going to be even harder to trade him now because he's getting shoulder surgery. Nobody's going to want to trade for a guy whose stock is at its all-time low because of how he performed in the playoffs. Plus the shoulder surgery, that's going to be tough when you got to pay that guy $20 million plus give up something to get him. I have to look at what the dead cap will be if they release him, but I think it's going to be trending towards they'll take whatever they can get for Jimmy Garoppolo just to get his contract off the books, and if not, they'll have to release him.
803-404-6100, or you can join us on the Buford Lending live stream. Hope and Troy are one of our favorite Clemson fans. Yes, there are a few out there that we like. Troy, Ray, and Bowman is always a fun follow on our text line. But Hope and Troy going back and forth. You can join in there on the Buford Lending live stream. Or again, you can hit us up, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of a phenomenal Monday morning program. We wrap it up next here on the early game. So you learn a lot as you become older about becoming a parent. One of the things you learn is sleep becomes less and less of a thing that you can get. And so when you get an opportunity for a great night of sleep, you really, really need to take advantage of it. This weekend, we had 4 soccer games. We had a middle school pageant that I had to attend. And then you wake right back up bright and early to do a 6 a.m. radio show on Monday morning. They didn't even include all the sports I was trying to watch, the baseball series, women's basketball, all the things that I needed to take in to be ready. So when I had the opportunity to get a great night of sleep, thank goodness I had a sleep number bed. Put that sleep number setting on 45, and I was ready to go. And it's going to come in handy again next week because we got another soccer tournament, and it's tournament weekend in basketball. All those things. I'm going to need great nights of sleep from now till who knows when. I guess until these kids graduate high school and they're no longer playing some kind of athletics or doing something. And with Sleep Number Bed, I will continue to get great nights of sleep. You can do the same. Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number, you may ask? Because every great day starts the night before. Don't miss Sleep Number's weekend special sale. Save up to $700 on a Sleep Number 360 smart bed plus special financing. But this deal ends today. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. 2 stores to choose from. One in Irma on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Again, it's the end of the weekend special where you can save $700 on a Sleep Number 360 smart bed plus special financing. But the deal ends today. Get out to a Sleep Number store to find out what I'm talking about. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
Well, I got out there and I pruned the crepe myrtle tree on Saturday too, but my ladder is not tall enough to get really up into the tree. I need somebody who can really take out a few more branches, but the portion that I did prune actually looks really good. I'm very pleased. Just got to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the tree.
Who are we talking about here, Eric? Paris and DeJuan Jones? Paris Johnson definitely will be. I assume. Plus Jackson Smith and Jigba and CJ Stroud. 4 first-rounders. I didn't even see what Nicholas Petit-Frere's combine was like. Let's see. Oof. Not an awesome combine from Nicholas Petit-Frere.
I'm not sure, Alan. We got soccer this weekend. It ain't gonna be this weekend. Maybe the 19th. I tell you what, the wind kicked up Thursday night, Friday morning, and I was glad the boat was not in the water because it was bad out here. And it looks like it's not on my side, but according to the weather, it looks like there's a lake wind advisory today. So I may wait. I don't know.
It better not rain on Saturday. I got an outdoor wedding to go to.
All right. Where at here in Columbia?
Nah, yeah, it's Lexington somewhere. I can't remember.
It's calling for 62. It's calling for 53 on Sunday. The high of 53. What happened here? 84 today, 69 tomorrow, 66 Wednesday, 58 Thursday with 87% chance of rain. My goodness.
Wrapping up the final few minutes here of the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. Really is going to be a fun weekend. The sweep by Patrick, the sweep by Clemson really puts a damper on the baseball series this weekend, I think. And that's a shame, number one, coming to town. Because really, you look at this week, and across the board, you've got the Players' Championship down in Sawgrass. So if you're into golf, you've got a great golf tournament. If you're into college basketball, it's ACC, it's SEC, it's Big 12, it's Big 10, it's Big East, whatever you want, Pac-12 if you're into that kind of thing. It's basketball tournament time. That's going to be a lot of fun. We should start getting a little bit more news on spring practices. I believe Clemson has one more week of spring before they break for spring break. I could be wrong, Tiger fans. You probably know that a little bit more about your spring practice schedule than I do. I hadn't looked. I know they started last week. South Carolina will get going next week on the 16th, so a week from this coming Wednesday. So we need to get some college football guests on this week and next week to start breaking down spring practice, what we're hoping to see from Spencer Rattler. But overall, Patrick, really has a chance to be a very fun, exciting week here across the board. However, the weather may be telling us differently. We were just discussing on the live stream. Today is 84. Beautiful day, a little bit of wind. Then you go into tomorrow, it drops down to 69. Wednesday, 66, the high with a 75% chance of rain. Thursday, 87% chance of rain, and the high is 58. So that'll be great when we come rolling in at 5:45 in the morning to the studio. And then Friday, the high is 66 with a 78% chance of rain. And Saturday, we talk about these baseball games this weekend, not much better. 62 is the high and 56% chance of rain. It'll be interesting to see how they try and get these baseball games in this weekend.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You're the weather guy. You've been looking at the radars and things like that. How likely is it actually to rain when they say 56% from here on out?
Depends.
You buying it?
Seriously, I've done just enough research. It depends if this front, little cold, chilly front with some precipitation speeds up. If it speeds up, we could get that as early
Why
as
are you
tomorrow.
encouraging him, Patrick?
Well, I got an outdoor. I just said on live stream, I got an outdoor wedding to go to on Saturday.
Yeah.
If it rains, that's going to screw my weekend up too.
Yeah. Daniel Bonds is out there listening. We need him. We might need him to come on this week and give a little bit of a breakdown of what you can expect. Because, like I said, I got another soccer tournament next weekend, and I instantly see that 53 on Sunday, and I'm not thrilled about that. Much like South Carolina fans right now about the baseball program, not thrilled. Other than that, Patrick, boy, it was just all in all rough weekend for the Gamecocks. I think we covered it the best we could this morning.
Yeah, but again, March Madness is around the corner. There's a lot of fun things coming up. It's too early to let a baseball series get you down about sports. It's too early to be bummed out about that. Wait for the dog days of summer. Right now, yeah, NASCAR and March Madness. Come on, let that boost your spirits, please.
It's true. It's a good point. Yeah, we will keep your spirits boosted all week. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you to Jen Jensen, to Patrick Perrett. It's been a Monday episode. We'll see you tomorrow.
Everybody have an awesome day.
Scott, I agree. That's weather. 56% chance of snow. Yeah, it'd really be zero, but rain's different.
Yeah, rain is different.
Take care.
All right.
See you tomorrow. I'll be back in the studio.
That's all right. Everybody have a good day. See you tomorrow.